And hello, how we doing, peeps? So, as many of you may have heard me talking about last night during the Diablo stream, I'd been on the lookout for another trial. I've decided we're going to take a crack at the, Bramer case. Bramer, damn it, I just heard his name, and Ivan Bramer. It is Bramer, because I thought it was weird that it was spelt that way. It is Iowa versus Ivan Bramer. The, Court TV's calling it the Strangled Girlfriend case. Law and Crime's calling it Dead in a Ditch. I think it has a little bit more of a ring to it. I do apologise in advance because, as always, the audio feed is terrible. But it's going to be a short, sharp case. It was expected to go for a week. We're already into day 2. The opening statements, day 1, lasted about an hour. But this is also something that I can just sort of stream in the background while I'm working and keep you guys entertained at the same time so that we can all have some background noise for our workday. Thank you to everyone that... no, this is not Law News and Laughter. Hey, look at that. Caitlin got a notification. Fantastic. But yeah, so let's have a look at it. We'll have a look at Court TV's article very quickly, and then we'll just get stuck into it. So, Law and Crime after the clicks? Yes, but so am I. Alright, let's have a look. The Ivan Bramer Strangled Girlfriend Murder Trial, also known as the Dead in a Ditch case. The trial began on Monday for the man accused of killing his girlfriend, whose body was later found frozen in a ditch. Ivan Sam Bramer is charged with second-degree murder, tampering with a corpse, and theft in the death of Irene Gowan. Gowan, 60, was last seen with Bramer, who she said she was in an on-again, off-again relationship on February 13, 2023. She was reported missing on February 15 by her daughter, Nicole Shipper. Nicole told police that when she reported her mother's disappearance, that her mother had been in the possession of a personal safe containing $1,200. After days of searching, her body was found on February 26 in a ditch, partially frozen. Her clothing was intact, but her purse and the safe were gone. While temperatures were above freezing the day she disappeared, they dropped soon after, and investigators said they believed that she'd been in the ditch the 11 days that she had been missing. Damn. Investigators quickly focused their attention on Bramer, whose relationship with the victim was described by friends and the family as volatile, with much verbal fighting and alcohol involved. That's always a great mix. 2 witnesses who spoke to police said that before her disappearance, she'd been kicked out of the apartment she shared with Bramer, and that Bramer had been holding her personal safe, containing $1,500, okay, so now we've already jumped $300, but okay, until she paid him back $300. Oh, well, there you go. Police noted that on February 15, he deposited $1,500 into his bank account. You moron. Are you serious right now? In an affidavit obtained by Court TV, detectives said they interviewed Bramer 4 times between February 15 and February 24. While he initially told officers that he had picked her up at 8:30 a.m. and took her to her house in which she was staying with a friend, he quickly changed his story. Detectives said that this was proven to be a false statement, and each interview after, when presented with inaccuracies in his previous statements, he would change his story to conform to the facts presented. Well, yeah, we don't want to do about that. Just thinking about checking on this trial now you join Aussie? Yay! Where was this? This was in Iowa, Stingy. When police looked at video from the city and private cameras on February 13, they began to put together a timeline that showed how she may have died. Between 8:30 and 9:28, she's seen walking and acting normally and sitting upright in Bramer's truck. Damn it. At 10:28 a.m. that day, he's seen driving his truck, but detectives note something is different in the way she's sitting or positioned in his truck. So now police are all of a sudden body language experts. Interesting. At multiple occasions, it appears she's awkwardly slumped in the passenger seat. Oh shit, they're saying that he'd already killed her by that stage. Okay. Police note that she does not appear to have moved or changed position in the last half hour at 10:56 a.m. At 11:06, she's no longer visible in his truck. Her initial autopsy revealed bruises, cuts, and scrapes to most of her body, as well as head injuries. None of the head injuries are believed to have been severe enough to cause her death. The medical examiner who conducted the autopsy said due to the level of decomposition, they could not determine the cause or manner of death, which were both listed as unknown. He was initially charged with tampering with a corpse and the theft of the $1,500, but prosecutors upgraded the charges after getting a second opinion on the cause and manner of her death. They contacted a doctor in New York, who consulted on the case and offered his opinion as to her cause of death as traumatic asphyxia due to neck compression, and the manner of death was ruled as a homicide. So there you go. Sounds like she died from lack of funds, joking. That's terrible. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to get stuck into the opening statements. Again, I apologise for the audio. As we know, it's law and crime. Until they fix up their audio in the background, it's, you know, the court feed's terrible. But, let's have a look at this. I've already moved it forward, so we only have to really sit through about an hour. And then from there, we'll decide whether or not we're going to continue with this trial, or whether we're going to go back in time and look at the John case. Because apparently that's like Daryl Brooks 2.0, and it only lasted 5 days as well. So that might be a nice little one for us to go through too. Alright, here we go. I've already skipped ahead to where the court actually starts talking. Yes, Lauren Cook. Which reminds me, I need to do the... Lovely! Alright. Nope, that doesn't work. Yep, we're just going to leave it like that. And see, this is good, because this is something that I can just stream in the background while I get some work done as well. It's fantastic. Oh, come on, I'm not sitting... That's him there, sitting in the background. Quite the... Okay, here we go. They spent the morning doing jury selection. Apparently didn't take very long at all. They broke for the lunch break, and then they came back and did opening statements. Oh my god. You always forget how boring it is waiting for the... Hey, Jiminy, how you doing? Here we go.
We're back on record after our lunch and recess. At this time, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to provide you with a number of preliminary instructions. When we finish with those instructions, I'll ask the county attorney to read the trial information, and then you'll hear opening statements from both the state and the defendant. At this point, I'm going to give you preliminary instructions. I'd ask you.
I don't understand why you have such an issue with that message. It's pretty clear. Goal is 100 likes.
Throughout the course of this trial, we'll be hearing witnesses testify about events that form the basis of this case, and exhibits may be received as evidence. Since you, as the jury, are the judge of the facts, to better enable you to understand the evidence and testimony as it is received, and to apply it to the law, at this time, I will provide you preliminary instructions on certain matters. Instruction number 1.
Crap, which...
Personal prejudice have no place in
It is Streamlabs, okay.
You must set aside and disregard any personal feelings of bias or prejudice which you may have based on sex, race, religion, national origin, age, or disability.
Too small of a number for
You
likes.
must decide this case only on the basis
Oh, it is
of the
November.
evidence which is admitted.
You know, I'm just going to
in
turn
the
it
law,
off.
As I explain it to you. My duty is to tell you what the law is. Your duty is to accept and apply this law. Your duty is to decide all fact questions. Do not be influenced by any personal likes or dislikes, sympathy, bias, prejudice, or emotions. The trial information charges the defendant, Ivan Samuel Brammer, hereafter referred to as the defense, with the crimes of murder in the second degree, abuse of a corpse, and theft in the second degree. Instruction number 3. The trial
Audio's low, but we had worse.
is
Yeah.
the document that formally charges the defendant with a crime. It is merely the method by which the defendant is brought into court for trial. It is not evidence. Instruction number 4. The defendant has entered a plea of not guilty. The plea of not guilty
Yes, that is
the
true.
complete denial of all of the charges,
Which I think is completely
placing the
BS.
burden on the state to prove.
Basically, I'm just going to pause it there just to very briefly discuss this. So there was a gentleman that ran a catering business that was looking after a number of the hospitals here in Victoria. The same guy, as long as Hayden only whispers. Yeah, sorry about that. Basically, there's thoughts that slugs were planted and they made their way into food, and the health officer at the time, the same guy that put us all into, well, you know, there was a certain species of insect floating around that was causing people to have to stay in their homes. Yeah, the guy that was in charge of that immediately like shut down this guy's business as a complete and utter overreaction, shall we say. The court has said that he was it was a knee-jerk reaction or whatever else, but that because it was ultimately reasonable, then there's no compensation. It shouldn't have, it basically said, the judge said it shouldn't have happened, and you were overstepping your bounds, but it's not worth giving this person compensation, despite the fact they've lost millions of dollars worth of business. I think he, because he lost the entire business, and I think it was $26 million he's out now, and the judge said, yeah, no, he shouldn't have done it, but we're not going to give you compensation anyway. I'm like, anyway. The hockey player in Europe was arrested on manslaughter, did a 7-minute video on it. Oh, well, there you go. Slug as in a shotgun shell or the invertebrate? The invertebrate. It was a catering company, and he thinks it was a rival company, basically trying to make sure that his catering contracts, his lucrative catering contracts, were ultimately terminated, which they were. So, but anyway. Alright. And for those of you coming in, this is the Dead in a Ditch murder trial. The guy is accused of having basically murdered his girlfriend and left her in a ditch. Easy fix, salt. This is true, but at the same time, you don't want to taste the slug either, and salt isn't necessarily going to sort that out. So,
prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Whenever I instruct you, the state must prove something. It must be by evidence beyond a reasonable doubt. Instruction number 5. The defendant is presumed innocent and not guilty.
I very much agree that you should get compensation for it, AP.
Requires you to put aside all suspicion which you might have that arises from the arrest, charge, or the present situation of the defendant. The presumption of innocence remains for the defendant throughout the trial unless the evidence establishes guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Instruction number 6. The burden is on the state to prove the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. A reasonable doubt is one that fairly and naturally arises from the evidence or lack of evidence produced by the state. If, after a full and fair consideration of all of the evidence, you are firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt, then you have no reasonable doubt, and you should find the defendant guilty. But if, after a full and fair consideration of all of the evidence, or lack of the evidence produced by the state, you are not firmly convinced of the defendant's guilt, then you have a reasonable doubt, and you should find the defendant not guilty. Instruction number 7. You shall base your verdict only upon the evidence in these instructions. Evidence is testimony in person or by videotape deposition, exhibits that are received by the court. You may examine the exhibits closely, but be careful not to alter or destroy them. Stipulations, which are agreements between the attorneys. Facts may be proved by direct evidence, circumstantial evidence.
Yep, though I said it wasn't going to be for everybody. It's purely just I was sitting there enjoying myself.
Trial, references are made to pretrial statements and reports, witnesses' depositions, or other miscellaneous items. Only those things formally offered and received by the court are available to you during your deliberations. Documents or items read from or referred to which were not offered and received in evidence are not available to you. The following are not evidence: statements, arguments, questions, and comments by the lawyers, objections and rulings on objections, any testimony I tell you to disregard, anything you saw or heard about this case outside court.
To be fair, I wouldn't have thought that.
You will hear testimony from persons described as experts, persons who have become experts in the field because of their education and experience, may give their opinion on matters in that field and the reasons for their opinion. Consider expert testimony just like any other evidence or testimony. You may accept it or reject it. You may give it as much weight
That's a good
as
point.
you think it deserves, considering the witness's education and experience, and all the other evidence in the case.
Oh, sounds like they might have changed it. They might be fixing up the audio.
Make deductions and reach conclusions according to
Jason, I didn't do it on the second channel last night. It was just on this one.
Facts may be proved by direct evidence, circumstantial evidence, or both. Direct evidence is evidence from a witness who claims actual knowledge of a fact.
You love that you have to sit through this, but you do pick up on little nuances between the different judges, so that's why I want to hear what he's got to say.
Show a defendant is guilty or not guilty. The law makes no distinction between direct evidence and circumstantial evidence. Give all of the evidence the weight and value you think is entitled to receive. Instruction number 10. Decide the facts from the evidence. Consider the evidence using your observations, common sense, and experience. Try to reconcile any conflicts in the evidence. But if you cannot, accept the evidence you find more believable. In determining the facts, you may have to decide what testimony you believe. You may believe all, part, or none of any witness's testimony. There are many factors which you may consider in deciding what testimony to believe. For example, whether the testimony is reasonable and consistent with other evidence you believe, whether a witness has made inconsistent statements, the witness's appearance, conduct, age, intelligence, memory, and knowledge of the facts, and the witness's interest in the trial, his or her motive, candor, bias, and prejudice. Instruction number 11. You must decide this case based solely on the evidence received in this courtroom. This means that during the trial, you are not to do any independent research about this case, about the issues presented, and about...
Exactly. Don't be the jurors in the Lerman case and go and do outside research and then have those particular reports fall out of your bag on the floor in front of the bailiff. Don't do that.
Persons involved in this case. In other words, you must not consult dictionaries or reference materials, search the internet, websites, blogs, or use any other electronic tools to obtain information about this case or to help you decide this case. Do not try to find out information from any source outside the confines of this courtroom. You are not to Google the lawyers, the parties, the witnesses, or even me until after you've reached a verdict.
Well, I mean, you can Google me if you
Do not
want.
talk to anyone about this case.
Not much is going to come up.
Many of you use smartphones, iPhones, the internet.
That is not legal advice, Cherry.
Tools of technology.
Hey, bye,
Do not
Franz.
use any of these devices to communicate through email, text messaging, on Twitter, through a blog, internet chat room, or by way of any other social networking websites, including Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, etc. Ladies and gentlemen, I want you to understand why these rules are so...
Hey, Angel. How are you? This is the judge presiding over the dead in a ditch trial. Ivan Bramer is alleged to have killed his girlfriend and left her in a ditch for 11 days.
Following your oath, our law does not permit jurors to converse among themselves about the case until all of the evidence is submitted and you're instructed to begin your deliberations. These rules are designed to help guarantee a fair trial. And our law sets forth serious consequences if these rules are not followed. Failure to follow these
Why do you feel
rules
attacked,
will
Just Cause?
jeopardize the results of this trial.
What happened after 11 days? They found her in the ditch.
And or you could be held in contempt. Consider your parent, child, sibling, or close friend was a witness. You would want all jurors to follow the rules. Please join me in protecting the process.
I have a lot of experience with murders, even if secondhand, because of being a lawyer. Thankfully, not so much.
Wilbur, who's going to read the trial information.
I mean,
You'll be followed by
you deal with what you have to in terms of trials and that sort of thing, but
And then when he's done, Mr. Munger-
I was in Iowa.
The opening statement is an opportunity for the attorneys to let you know what they believe the issues are and what evidence they think will be received. please
Yeah, the
remember
judge is quiet.
their
Thankfully,
statements
he, thankfully the,
arguments that they'll make to close the case. That's not evidence. I just gave you that.
What do you call it?
instruction. But
The lawyers are
the
actually okay.
And at this point, in openings, is an opportunity to give you an outline of what they think the evidence will be. Sometimes evidence comes in out of chronological order. It's an opportunity for them to help you
That tracks.
navigate through the evidence. I'd ask you that you give all counsel your attention. Mr. Wilder, read the trial.
Am I going to be streaming the trial? Depending on how this goes. Depending on whether or not we think much of the opening statements or not. Alright, here we go.
In the District Court of Pottawatomie County, Iowa, at Council Bluffs, State of Iowa versus Ivan Samuel Bramer, case number FECR 171749. Trial information. Comes now the County Attorney of Pottawatomie County, State of Iowa, and in the name and by the authority of the State of Iowa, accuses Ivan Samuel Bramer of the crimes of
That
count
is the State of
1,
Iowa in the
murder
room.
in the second degree, count 2, abuse of corpse, hide or bury, count 3, theft, second degree, committed as follows. For that the said Ivan Samuel Bramer, on or about the 13th day of February, 2023, in the said County of Pottawatomie, and State of Iowa, count 1, did with malice aforethought, kill Eileen Gowan. Count 2, did abuse a human corpse by hiding or burying it with the intent to conceal a crime, or fail to disclose the known location of a human corpse with the intent to conceal a crime.
I don't know that I like the wording abuse there.
Did take possession or control of the property of another, the property having value in excess of $1,500, but not exceeding $10,000, with the intent to deprive the other thereof.
Hang on, it wasn't though.
Against the peace and dignity of the State of Iowa, and
That's a
contrary
bit-
to statutes and cases made and provided in violation of sections, for count 1,
I'm just going to pause it right there for a second. I have an issue with the wording and what they've charged there. Because she was carrying that safe. Yes, it's alleged to have had $1,500 in it. But that's not in excess of $1,500. And we know that $300 was owed to him. So unless they can prove that she didn't hand over $300, I kind of feel like that they've already... I kind of feel like they've overcharged that. Because they can't necessarily prove that she hadn't handed over the $300, thereby making it that she only had $1,200 in that safe or on her person at the time of her death. That's... okay. Alright.
707.1 and 707.3, count 2.
I know I'm splitting hairs, but...
708.14, sub 1B, 708.14, sub 2, and 903B, sub, or point 2. And count 3, 714.1, subsection 1, 714.2, subsection 2. All of the 2022 Code of Iowa. True information. The defendant has entered a plea of not guilty to all 3 charges. Thank you.
Mr. Forney,
Thank you, Judge. May it please court?
counsel?
Counsel. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Her name is Eileen Gowan. She was 60 years old. She was a daughter. She was a sister. She was a mother. And she was a grandmother. Eileen went missing for about 2 weeks until her body was found. She was found about approximately 8 miles north of Council Bluffs in a remote area, an area that's commonly known for people dumping their trash. There she lay. She was dumped, just like the trash that lay next to her. She was wearing the exact same clothes that she was wearing 2 weeks prior on the day she went missing, on Monday, February 13th, 2020. This case is about jealousy. It's about anger. It's about control. It's about a man who for 2 weeks had no concern about Eileen being missing. Why?
Okay, that's just going to annoy me. Again, I know we're talking semantics, but 11 days is more of a week and a half than 2 weeks. But anyway.
Because he already knew she was dead. Eileen and the defendant had a very complicated relationship. It was volatile at times. It involved alcohol sometimes. They had verbal disagreements. We will have witnesses in the way of family, friends, co-workers. They will all testify to that. It was a complicated relationship. But this time it was a little bit different because when they broke up this time, she was staying with another man. And you have to understand they were an on and off relationship for a year and a half. A week before Eileen's disappearance, the defendant and Eileen had broken up again. They were no longer living together, and Eileen was staying temporarily at a friend's house. His name was Mike Brockman. He's an individual that Eileen knew from the bar called Sugars. Sugars will be brought up throughout this trial. One reason why is because Eileen is seen leaving Sugars at 8:30 in the morning with the defendant in his truck from Sugars parking lot. And that was on February 13th, 2023. Sugars is located right over here off Kingsville Boulevard. Mike Brockman's house, or residence, is located right up here, just north up on Railroad Highway. That's about 2.5 miles. You see, Mike knew that there was a little bit of drama going on between Eileen and the defendant. He was nice enough that he was going to allow her to stay there for a while. She ended up staying there with him that weekend before she disappeared. But Mike Brockman also knew that there was drama. And Mike told Eileen that she couldn't stay there anymore. She just couldn't. He didn't want to be part of it. So the plan was for, on Monday morning, the 13th, Mike Brockman was to drop Eileen off at 5:30 in the morning. She has an early cleaning shift, that she does at the bar. And then later in the evening, when Mike is back from his job, he wanted Eileen to come back and pick her stuff up. Now, when I say her stuff, I'm talking about literally stuff that would fit in a 2x2 box. It wasn't much. So both the defendant and Eileen worked at Sugars. The defendant was a dishwasher, and Eileen worked the early morning cleaning shift, and she also would pick up shifts in the afternoon as well. So on that February 13th, Mike Brockman does drop Eileen off at Sugars. So Mike Brockman drives from his house down here to Sugars, drops her off.
Ezra, it was Council Bluffs.
In that time frame. Then he
Not
drives
100% sure whether it is in
to his
Iowa.
work, which is in Omaha. At the end of Eileen's cleaning shift, which was somewhere around 8 o'clock, she calls her daughter, Nicole. Nicole will come and she will testify in court. She called her daughter, Nicole, adult daughter, at 8:06 a.m. And that was the very last conversation Nicole had with her mom. Eileen also talked to the defendant. She messaged him, and then there was a phone conversation about that same time with the defendant. And Eileen asked the defendant to come pick her up from Sugars. Even though they were broken up, they had this on and off relationship going on. So he does. He does exactly that. He comes to Sugars at 8:30 in the morning, and we will have video from Sugars showing the defendant arriving at 8:30 in his dark blue Ford F-150 pickup truck. Eileen can be seen as a passenger leaving in his truck from the video at 8:32 a.m. Eileen was supposed to come back and work an afternoon shift at 2 o'clock. But she didn't show. And that was unusual. The owner of Sugars, her name is Megan Preston, and she will testify that Eileen was a reliable worker. She will testify that she's the type of worker that if she wasn't going to show up, she would text or call to let her know. She will also testify that they were in good communication. They texted often. It was a pretty good relationship in terms of boss and employee. They had good communication. Moreover,
Seems
her
kind of
family
irrelevant to me,
will
but anyway.
testify that she had good communication with her family members as well. She was the type of person that would contact her family members, whether it be a call or a text, especially Nicole. Nicole, her one
Hey,
of her
Aaron,
daughters, she
about
testified
20
that
minutes.
She talked to her mom every day. So Megan, Eileen's boss, is working at Sugars. And she's trying to get a hold of Eileen because she's covering that shift, and she needs Eileen to come pick up her 2 o'clock shift because her boss is actually working the shift before. So she sends a message, text message, and calls Eileen, nothing. 2:20, she sends a message to her, and finally, at about 2:44 p.m. in the afternoon, Megan receives a message back from Eileen's phone. But there was something different about this message. The message was odd to her. It did not sound like Eileen. They had
How so?
established a good communication with text messages, and there's something about that message that just wasn't right. Now the defendant, he didn't work on February 13th. He didn't work on February 14th. And he was scheduled to work on February 15th. But he failed to show on February 15th. And in fact, when law enforcement was interviewing him, his first interview was on February 15th. And he will even state in the interview that he didn't call in and he was probably fired. And that was unusual behavior for him. For nearly 2 weeks, law enforcement...
Oh, just be careful, because
investigating
otherwise you
this
might
case.
actually just get
It's
accused of
missing
being a murderer
person.
yourself.
They're doing everything they can to find Eileen. In those 2 weeks, officers were interviewing many people. They interviewed family. They interviewed friends. They interviewed coworkers. Law enforcement canvassed the area. They were trying to pull video from businesses, local businesses, from the intersection cameras with the public works. They were doing everything to try to figure out where she went that day. They were trying to find Eileen. They even applied for search warrants for people to try to get their phone information so they could get something back and try to get a lead on where she was, where she went on the 13th.
Yes, it's sure. I saw that and I was quite pissed off about it.
But before getting all that information back, there was something about the defendant. There was something abundantly clear about the defendant.
And what was that?
That each and every time law enforcement talked to the defendant, his stories changed a little bit. And as law enforcement starts getting some of the facts back, it starts getting some of the information back from their investigation, they start figuring out these stories aren't lining up. In fact, we'll take February 15th, his first interview with Sergeant Roberts. The defendant says he picked up Eileen, 8:30.
Get her a towel. Let's come on, Eileen.
He drove to Mike Brockman's house, which, as you know, is only about 2.5 miles away. Never sees her again. Goes back to his apartment. His apartment is Cottonwood Apartments. So they're over here. So he picks her up at Sugars, 8:30, 2.5 miles up to Mike Brockman's house, drops her off, drives back down, goes down Broadway, and goes to his apartments, Cottonwood Apartments. Mentions nothing else about any other stops or anything else. Now, he does also talk about that when he dropped her off,
Just going through the opening
he
statements.
went back to his apartment, and strangely, later that morning, he got some messages from her, and then he heard some knocking on the window.
Oh, sorry,
And
Joe.
he thinks it was Eileen, but he didn't answer. The fact is that when we were starting to get the surveillance camera information back, we knew that on the 15th, that story was not true. Fast forward, February 17th, 2 days later. Now keep in mind, the 15th is only 2 days after she goes missing. Only 2 days after he saw her. And he's leaving out all this information. The second time he was interviewed was February 17th, which is another 2 days. So we're 4 days out now. Well, defendant's version changes. Now his story is that there's more detail, and now he goes to Sugar's. So he picks her up at Sugar's, Eileen, and then decides to drive over to Dudley Court. Dudley Court is the residence of Eileen's mom. She lives in an apartment there in Dudley Court. So the defendant says he takes her over to Dudley Court to see her mom. She goes into Dudley Court, gets a black safe that she keeps at her mom's, and another personal item, I think a purse. And then
Racist.
they're there for about 5 or 10 minutes at Dudley Court, and then he drives back and drops her off at Mike Rockman's restaurant or residence, and never sees her again after that. Now, at this time, officers already know that he's not telling the truth again because they've received
Yes, from what I gather, pretty much all of it is circumstantial.
He was actually heading west out on 36th and Broadway like he's going over to Omaha. And they confronted him about that. And he denied it. Said he never went to, didn't remember going. Keep in mind, this is now 4 days removed from the day that she was missing. Law enforcement may have learned some truthful facts about that interview, but the fact of the matter is his version
Council
was
Bluff,
untrue.
which I understand is near the
It's not
border with
correct.
Nebraska,
It
I
was
think.
untrue.
I think someone said.
February 24th, another interview with law enforcement. After being arrested on a looting case, the defendant agrees to discuss Eileen with the detective. Now he admits to going to Omaha. He says, yep, I went to Omaha to get some cigarettes. Moreover, he says he ends up stopping at Carter Lake. Carter Lake is right here.
It's a bit of a drive just for cigarettes, isn't it?
He says that he stopped at Carter Lake, in his words, for a little bit of fun with Eileen.
Little recap, if you can, when you can, please. No worries. So this is the murder trial, the Dead in a Ditch murder trial. We have Mr. Ivan Bramer on trial for allegedly killing his girlfriend and leaving her in a ditch for 11 days. Now, apparently they had an on-again, off-again relationship. It was a bit volatile. There was alcohol involved. There may or may not have been physical abuse. Her family couldn't stand him, and apparently at some point she owed him quite a bit of money as well. On the day in question, she was seen in his truck. Police believe that at some point they've got her on camera dead in the truck. And at that point, she was carrying her safe, which allegedly contained $1,500. She owed him $3. And beyond that, allegedly, he deposited $1,500 around the same time as well. So, as far as I can tell so far, a lot of this is circumstantial. But it doesn't sound great. But I mean, again, this is opening statements. We are going to be listening to the opening for the prosecution and the defense. They're already most of the way through day 2. From here, we're going to decide if we're going to keep on with this or we're going to look at another trial. But so far, it seems okay. So hopefully that was enough of a recap for you. Your dad went to Omaha for cigarettes too. When he said that, that just rankled me a little bit because, I mean, who the hell goes to another state for smokes?
Then he says he takes her back down Broadway and drops her off at Mike Brockman's residence.
So
law
now he's
enforcement
blaming
knew
the
he was
other
lying
guy.
again because now we're getting more information back. Now we're getting information that the defendant was clear out and trainer, which is 14 miles away from Council Bluffs, never mentions anything about trainer. Yet another version that's untrue. The defendant continually changed his story as he learned that law enforcement had video of him in certain locations. He was changing his statement to conform to what law enforcement knew.
Dude's not a criminal mastermind, let's put it that way.
The video evidence in this case will demonstrate that none of the defendant's versions
Oh, well,
of the story
California's
of what
slightly
happened
different.
on February 13th were correct. There was some truth to it, but it was just bits and pieces of truth. The evidence is the truth in this case. The state will present the route the defendant took that morning on February 13th.
Normal in some places due to taxes? Okay.
2023. You'll see the locations, you'll see the times. You'll see video, you'll see photos of them together in a couple different locations.
You gotta understand, that's a weird
You'll
concept
see
for us
the
Australians
exact
because our
clothes that
taxes
she's
are
wearing that
federal.
morning.
We don't have state taxes like that.
Pattern on her green sweater, her jeans, her coat, her shoes.
So it's straight across the board.
You will also see a black safe. You will see a video of her walking down Dudley Court with a black safe. You will also see a video of her at Burger King drive-thru. It'll be the drive-thru window. There was a video there. And this is at 10:30 in the morning. And this is February 13th, 2023. And you see Eileen
They have dirt cheap
in
gas.
the
Cool.
passenger side. And she doesn't move the entire time. Her motionless body is sitting in the passenger side, and she's in a very awkwardly stiff position the entire time. You will see that on video. You will learn just how untruthful the defendant was with his interviews. Now, the defense may offer some evidence about Mike Brockman or something about it could have been Mike who was potentially the one related with this investigation, but law enforcement thoroughly looked at Mike Brockman. In fact, Mike Brockman's going to testify. We expect he'll testify tomorrow morning. Mike Brockman will. The law enforcement interviewed Mike Brockman, did a phone dump, talked to his employer. Mike Brockman was working all day February 13th and all day on February 14th. Now, I anticipate the defense will probably bring in some evidence about alcohol, that she was drunk or was going through withdrawals, but you can see from the videos, there'll be two very distinct videos where you will see Eileen walking that morning. One of them will be at 8:30 in the morning when she walks into Sugars, so she went outside for some reason and walked back in Sugars, and you will see her walk. It's a normal walk. It's not a long clip, but you can see her walking. But the better video is Dudley Court. Dudley Court is at 8:51 a.m., and you will see her walk down the hallway carrying her
Big black
safe,
warning label. Yeah, well, it's not quite so
walking
much a
right
black
down the
warning
hallway
label
like
as it
normal
is
person.
like
She
a
has normal
grotesque
gait,
image plastered
she has
across it.
normal balance, and it will disprove this.
And they're looking at
this
bringing in
theory
more stringent things on
claim
that as
there's
well.
Some kind of alcohol related to her death. She was not
Hey, Lene,
intoxicated
how you doing?
on February 13th. The autopsy report will show that. You will see compelling evidence, phone evidence from the state's case.
Biff Thundermuffin, hello.
Special Agent Hout, he works with the FBI. The cell phone records from the network provider tell the story. And you're going to see that, evidence. Special Agent Hout from the FBI will testify that both Eileen's phone and the defendant's phone not only were traveling together that morning, which we'd expect them to, but they were traveling together in the afternoon as well.
And?
And they were traveling together the next day.
Right. Good God, this guy, like I said, this guy isn't a criminal mastermind. He really has shot himself in the foot
That
here.
will show you that not only were the phones traveling together, because these phones are connecting with the cell phone tower, and they're connecting to the network on the cell phone towers. But there will also be evidence that later in the day, on the 13th, that these phones in certain situations are being manually shut off and turned on at the same time.
Still think
The
it's pretty
defendant's own
circumstantial, but
grandmother,
anyway.
Emily, she resides in Cottonwood with her grandfather, the defendant. Her name is Emily. It's his own grandmother. She will testify that she believes she saw her grandpa, the defendant, with Eileen's phone after she disappeared. And she will be able to testify as to what the phone looked like. She's going to testify.
And that's how you know you've pissed off your family, when they're willing to testify against you in a murder trial.
And she knew it. And she will testify to that.
Like a smokes turns it up to
Defendant will have
11.
no
I
explanation
can understand
for
that.
why he would have Eileen's phone.
Your Honor, may we get that? You may.
Oh! Okay, something's happened there. Not going to get to hear the sidebar, which is annoying, but clearly something was said that the defense was not happy with. What do we think so far, peeps? Is this a trial that you want me to follow? It certainly seems interesting, if only for the fact that it looks like they're going to try and hammer this guy purely on circumstantial evidence as to locations of phones and that kind of crap. Tough of a habit to kick. You can do it. If I can do it, anyone can. Lost your mind? Yeah, I can understand that. Gonna have to prove the kid wouldn't know that the phone looked like what. Prove the kid wouldn't know what the phone looked like before. I dare say she's probably had some interaction with that phone previously. But yeah, just happy to see you doing a trial again. Well, I mean, look, I said it last night. I had been looking for a trial to cover, and
Evidence of suspicious
Oh, here we go.
and unusual behavior that the state will offer as evidence that you're going to see. And I will just list them. Number one, the defendant didn't show up for work on the 15th. And it was unlikely for him, or unlike him, to not show up for work. Number two, he crushed his F-150 pickup truck for $750. Evidence will show that it was likely worth around $5,000 to $6,000. The defendant pawned a sentimental studded diamond earring that was given to him by Eileen. Evidence will also show that the defendant deposited $1,200 cash, the amount thought to be in the safe, 2 days after her disappearance on February 15th. Number five, there will be evidence that he eluded law enforcement, that law enforcement chased him with lights and sirens as he sped off into Omaha. Number six, Emily, his own granddaughter, called law enforcement because he was making suicidal statements. And so law enforcement had to go meet with him and take him over to the hospital to make sure that he was safe. The defendant also, when he returns from Trainer at 12:59 p.m., parks his truck and starts taking items out of his truck.
wait. Did he just say that they're going to use evidence of him being suicidal and using it against him in a murder trial? See, even when it's a half-decent case where it's, you know, it seems like it's pretty open and shut as to what has happened, the prosecutors still decide that they have to do something dirty. Like, what the hell is that about? That's not good. Anyway.
Dumping them in the trash. Lastly, you will hear from two medical experts regarding the autopsy of Eileen. First, you will hear from Dr. Cruz. She will testify that Eileen had 8 blunt force impact contusions to the head, a laceration in her left front scalp, multiple contusions on her torso, a fracture of her front upper tooth, and multiple blunt force blows to her extremities. Dr. Cruz will also testify that the body had decomposed enough that it made the autopsy more difficult. I'll give you an example. Her right eye was missing due to the fact that animals had scavenged on her face. Dr. Cruz will testify that Eileen's body just didn't tell her enough to give her an opinion on whether there was a cause or manner of death. However, the second expert, Dr. Michael Boddy, is a renowned pathologist. He will testify. He reviewed the autopsy, and he will give an opinion that there is a cause and manner of death. He will testify that the injuries, the trauma, contusions, abrasions, all that evidence was evidence of an altercation before she died. Dr. Vide's opinion is, he will say that the cause of death was traumatic asphyxia due to neck compression and manner of death, homicide. At the conclusion of the evidence, it will be clear that the state has proven this case beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant murdered Eileen. He took $1,200 of her cash and her phone, hid and moved her deceased body to a remote location, dumped her in the ditch like she was a piece of trash. At the end of this case, I'm going to ask you to hold the defendant accountable for his actions. You will be firmly convinced that the state proved this case beyond a reasonable doubt. I ask you to find the...
That also explains the theft over $1,500 as well. Because they're still saying that it was just $1,200, but they're also saying that he stole her phone, so theoretically that's how they got the extra $300.
Hey, please report.
Counsel?
Counsel. The 5 W's. You might remember this from 8th grade English class. Who, what, where, when,
Hey, MLS. I
why.
have no idea. I presume so, now that there's 74 people watching.
That you need
Cheers.
to know throughout this case. Because the state, like an 8th grade essay, is going to try to paint you a picture, try to tell you a story about what happened to Eileen Gow. However, unlike 8th grade English, this is not just a story. This is something the state has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt. We talked about what beyond a reasonable doubt meant during a jury selection. I feel that you all know what that means. So let's start off with the who. Pretty simple. We have the alleged victim, Eileen Gow. And I'm calling her alleged victim, not because I'm trying to seem blasé about it, but the fact is, we don't know how she died. It could have been an accident, it could have been another cause. So that's why I'm calling her the alleged victim, Eileen Gow. We have the defendant, Ivan Samuel Brammer.
Well, there was that. He was allegedly owed $300.
State of Iowa has charged
But, I mean,
allegations.
just to clarify, given that the safe allegedly held $1,500, if he was owed $300, again, as I said, they would have had to have, proven that, because one of the charges is that he stole property worth over $1,500. So, I mean, unless they're including the actual value of the safe, I presume they have to be including the value of the phone. And so, therefore, they also need to prove that that was stolen as well in order to get that over that limit. Because if the safe did have $1,500 in it, they can't prove that she didn't open it, give him the $300 that was allegedly owed to him, and therefore that there was only $1,200 stolen. Now, they're saying in their openings as well that there was $1,200 that was stolen, but he deposited the whole $1,500 into his account. So they're trying to make it so that they're not making their job more difficult for themselves by presumably adding in the stealing of the phone. But as someone mentioned, they're going to have to prove that he actually had the phone on him, which is what they've got the whole thing that they're being turned on and off at the same time, and that they're traveling and all that sort of stuff. I don't think it's going to be difficult. I'm just trying to point out the plot holes and the hurdles that prosecution's going to have to get through at the time. So I do think this is going to be interesting. Great coverage as always. Cheers.
What? The state has charged Mr. Brammer with murder in the second degree, abuse of a corpse, hiding a corpse, and theft in the second degree. The state has elements it needs to prove on all 3 of these charges, and they each have individual elements. But that is what the state needs to prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt.
I might be speaking farmer by the end of this. I doubt it.
The state showed you their nice map of all the points of interest that they have on this case from Monday, February 13, 2023.
Hey, MG, how you doing?
We have video evidence of Mr. Brammer picking up Ms. Gowan at Sugars at around 8:30 in the morning. They have cameras and video tracking them all through the town of Council Bluffs, and then they lose them as they are getting into Omaha. There's going to be some testimony that you're going to hear that they were in the Carter Lake, Omaha area, probably picking up some cigarettes because they're the cheapest in the area. Then we have cameras getting this dark blue truck coming back into town from the 480
Pretty much what it boils down to, yeah.
We have them stopping at Burger King. We have them driving past a bank with some cameras at the ATM so you can see the truck driving by. The state had nearly everything that they needed to track Mr. Brammer and Ms. Gowan throughout town. But what they can't tell you
Is when she died?
how she died and where she died. They're going to tell you.
Okay,
she
fine.
must have been killed.
Of the W's, I went with when. They went with how and where. Who, what, when, where, how, and why. It's all the things that the prosecution's got to prove. Fine, I got it wrong which one was going to come out of his mouth. I still would have made the argument, though, that they can't prove necessarily each and every one of those things. They're literally saying that at some point she was sitting stiff as a board in his truck and sitting in an awkward position. On the basis of that, they think she died at some point while they were driving around. Who's to say she didn't have a stroke or something? Who's to say that she didn't have a heart attack in the truck and he's sitting there freaking out having no idea what to do? I mean, yeah. He steals the cash and then deposits it? Yes. That's what he did. The cash was allegedly inside a safe. He then deposited it into his account. Because this guy's a rocket scientist.
Killed on Railroad Highway, or according to the state, just in his opening statement, she was motionless and not moving at the Burger King drive-thru. This is the
Allegedly.
Burger King drive-thru that is the
Because
first
as
Burger
MJ
King
says, you can't see a
coming
damn
into
thing in the
town on
videos.
West Broadway, heading west. The state is going to want you to believe, through their evidence, that she was killed sometime between 8:30 and 10:30 in the morning, driven all around town on a Monday
Technically
morning.
two coroner
Plenty of
examinations,
cars that
Jerry.
you'll see on camera driving by.
But that's what he was saying before, is that because of the decomposition of the body across the 11 days that she was in the ditch, the first coroner report and autopsy that was done, the local coroner could not determine cause of death. So they got a big city guy to come in from New York and determine that it was homicide by asphyxiation. So,
And then taken to Mike Brockman's residence, and then taken all the way back through town, and then, if you don't remember from the map, you'll see later, the crime scene, as they're calling it, is up north by the Old Norman Bridge. This is where she was allegedly dumped. You are never going to see any evidence of Mr. Brammer heading towards the Old Mormon Ridge Road to dump that body, as the state would like you to believe. When? The state's allegations, again, all stem from February 13th, 2023. You're going to hear testimony that some people may have seen Ms. Gowan at Sam's Club. You're going to hear on February 14th. You're going to hear testimony that some people may have seen her at the food pantry on February 14th.
this will be interesting, because based on everything
You're
that I've
gonna
read
hear
and everything
some
I've heard
people
so
may
far,
have
I think
even
he
thought
did
she was
it.
in Louisiana
But if they manage to
at a
prove it
mental
beyond a
health
reasonable doubt, I'm going to be surprised.
These are all incidents that occurred after the state's allegation that this happened on February 13th. Why? You heard the state say that this is a volatile relationship. You're going to hear testimony that
Quite the
Sam
trial, totally worth the watch.
was the one
Okay,
who
alright.
told Eileen to move out of his apartment, his granddaughter's apartment. He wasn't the one who was kicked out.
We'll take a vote after when the
He wasn't the one that was
closings are done.
upset
So.
about her leaving the apartment. He was the one who asked her to leave. You're going to hear testimony that's
Maybe the Burger
Ms.
King
Gowan.
expiry.
was a little bit dramatic, and that she was trying to get a rise out of Sam at different points, especially when she was staying at Mike Brockman's house. I want you to pay close attention to what Sam did in response to these provocations, or maybe a little less than a provocation by Eileen, but in her attempt to start some drama.
Seems promising. I just hope they fix
and
up
I'm
the
not
court
sure when
fee,
they added this
as always.
to the 5 W's, but I think when I was in school, there was a 6th W that was not even a W, and that was how. How did this all occur? we have the Iowa State Medical Examiner's Office.
Oh, that is so. It's a
that's going
beige
to
shirt.
Come in and testify.
I can tell you right now,
They're
Isabel.
going to
That's a
tell all
beige shirt.
13 of you that it is her expert opinion that she does not know.
It matches the
how
wall behind him.
Eileen Gowan died, and she does not know what caused her death. She's not going to be able to tell you when she died. This is a person who will testify that she's performed thousands of autopsies and works in an office that performs thousands of autopsies across the state.
And she was unable to determine cause of death without assistance.
Unhappy with this information, Ms. Gowan's family contacts Dr. Michael Bodden. And you'll hear Mr. Bodden or Dr. Bodden testify, and you'll get to weigh what Mr. Bodden has, or I apologize, Dr. Bodden has against the Iowa State Medical Examiner's Office. And I want you to pay very close attention to what Dr. Bodden has to say, as compared to what the Iowa State Medical Examiner has to say, Dr. Kelly Cruz.
Actually, that's a good point. It could just be the tinge of the camera. I'm not sure. I mean, we already know that it's
State
tingy
can
as hell.
talk about waking up to freshly fallen snow, or it's a puzzle with a few missing pieces, but you can tell what the picture is. But that's not what the court of law is about. They're here
Ooh.
telling you a story.
Don't get close to it. Don't get close to it.
And the story with the 5 W's, who, what, where, when, and why, they can't prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt. And that is their
He
burden.
chain smokes.
And most importantly, they cannot tell you how Eileen Gowan died. It certainly could not have been by murder. So when you go back into that jury room, after hearing all the evidence throughout this week, I feel confident that you will come back with the only just verdict, that Ivan Samuel Brammer is not guilty of all charges. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Weber. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the opening statements by counsel. It's 3:15. You've been working hard with me all morning, and now in the afternoon.
Okay,
At this
hang on.
point, I think it's best if we take an afternoon recess and then return tomorrow morning to begin hearing testimony. So we'll be in recess from today, or from here in a few moments, until approximately 9:15 tomorrow morning. I'd ask that you all return to the courthouse around 9 o'clock. And so if I wrap up a couple of the things I need to, that are unrelated to this case, then we'll be able to get going right at 9:15 or shortly thereafter. As I have stated before, you're going to be going home, and they're going to ask you, so what did you do in court today? And you're going to have to tell a significant other or family member that I can't talk about it. As Davidson said, I couldn't visit with you about anything. That'll be each night you go home.
All right.
So please
So
remember that admonition.
I probably put the wrong
Keep an open mind.
poll up.
Thank you.
Because what I really should have been asking is, do I move on to day 2 now? Or what do we think, people? Because my other thought is the Yon case from back in June, where the guy self-represents himself. That was the other case that I was looking at. This, I think, has the cornerstones of being an interesting trial. I kind of want to follow it, but I also want to follow what you guys are going to find interesting and for me to provide commentary on. So you let me know in the chat. Do you want me to move on to day 2, or do you just want me to move on altogether? So, still debating with yourself about the color of the shirt. Okay.
For not bringing any big gulps, and so you've got empty water bottles and ice cold. It's November, so we have temperature changes. It was pretty warm in this courtroom this morning. It's quite warm now. Tomorrow, it'll be warm again. It could also get chilly, so wear some layers. And with that, we'll be in recess until 9:15 tomorrow morning. Thank you.
Do day 2, do this trial.
Please rise.
Hang on, what do we got? Breaking. Michigan judge rules that Trump will remain on the state's primary ballot. Okay, well, there you go. So he's won 2 out of how many now, then? It's belly-coloured. Can you put the subtitles on Can't Hear the Judge? That's actually a good point. I probably should have done that from the start. Sincere apologies, people. When I move to day 2, I shall make sure that I do that. It's already... rewatched the On trial a few weeks ago. That trial is crazy. Yeah, that's why I kind of want to look at it at some stage. Self-represented cases can be cringe. Yeah, but apparently people were calling it the Brooks trial 2.0. So, but I mean, we can do that at another stage. I mean, this one's live. It's supposed to last for 5 days. We've already done day 1. Day 2 is just about wrapping up, I believe. So we can share this tab instead. Full screen that. Alright, so day 2. Hopefully we've got some half-decent audio. Hang on, let me kick up the...
equipment, so I'm going to Peterbilt, Freightliner and Council Bluffs, Vanderheggs and Council Bluffs.
Wait, what the hell? Hang on, something's happened there. That's, Don't screw with me like this, Lauren Crime. Seriously? You wonder why no one likes you. Where are we? So that was watching day 1. Something's happened to Lauren Crime's feed for day 2. It's saying that it's 7 hours long, but it's starting at 5 hours 40, so we're already like, I don't know, 2 hours into the testimony. I kind of don't want to do that. I'd rather wait for it to fix itself. So... I don't understand why it's doing that. I have no idea. And I also appear to have lost my StreamYard. Oh no, there I am. Hold up, I'm confused. Ozzy's shirt is dark blue. No, we were talking about the defense attorney. Which reminds me, I should probably end that poll thinking about it. Yon was heinous. Where are we? Tough subject to listen to, but Yon was nuts. Yeah, I can't say I'm shocked by that. It's Colorado. It's not that he can stay on the ballot, it's that he can stay on the primary ballot and they reserve the right to rule later on the general ballot. Oh, okay. Alright, so we had 38% said that his shirt was off-white. Alright. What colour are the walls in Ozzy's room? They actually are beige. So. Alright. Maybe if I can try Court TV. I'm gonna try and see where the day 2 stuff is. Because I have no idea why. So on the opening page, it says that so far the Death in a Ditch murder trial for day 2 is 7 hours 47 minutes long. But then when you open it up, it starts at 5 hours and 40 minutes, which means you're losing at least 2 hours of testimony. I'm not comfortable losing that kind of thing when you know you would at least try and bring on your strongest witnesses to begin with. It's so weird. Where are we? If I look at that one live, that's just the... No, that's the eyedrop killer stuff. I don't think Court TV have it on their actual page. Oh, hang on. What do we got? Is this... I think this is... I can't tell if this is opening statements or if this is... Yeah, no, that's testimony. Okay. Let's see if we can manage this. Sorry, guys. This is a real royal pain. Alright, if I put that up there and I full screen that. Damn. Cuck things on the wrong side. Which is annoying. I swear they did that deliberately because they saw us doing it to Law and Crime. I mean, if we get through the first however long, I can at least then switch over to the Law and Crime one once I know that we're on the appropriate level. We're already a half hour in and no one said anything, so... Hey, Tom Gillis, how are you? Seriously?
Yeah.
Not gonna lie, the judge slightly reminds me of Gosney.
Please be seated. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay, audio sounds
We're
okay.
back on the record after our evening recess. And at this point, you're going to begin hearing testimony of the case. And I'd ask the state to call their first witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Antonio Davila.
Antonio Davila. Yeah, the audio is much better with the court TV feed. I just wish that it had been on YouTube rather than...
Mr. Villa, I have you raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor.
Problem I
Morning.
have is no captions.
Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
Antonio Davila, D-A-V-I-L-A.
Can you push the button that says on/off on there? So there we go.
Oh,
Perfect.
thank God.
And where do you live?
I live in Atlantic, Iowa.
Okay. And did you live in Council Bluffs back in February of 2023?
Yes.
Okay. I want you to, I'm going to take you back to February 26th.
Okay.
Anything odd or unusual happened that day?
We were gonna go shooting at the public hunting area.
Okay, and who was we?
Me and my grandfather,
Okay,
Thomas Christensen.
okay.
Yep.
And so you're going to go shooting at the public wildlife area.
Yep.
What happened?
So we were driving, and he likes to look around while we're driving, and noticed a body in the ditch, and we turned around, and sure enough, it was.
Okay. Who was there anyone else in the car with you?
My little brother, but he did not get out of the vehicle and
Okay.
all that.
How old is he?
10?
Okay.
I very briefly was
and
wondering,
what-
is this the
where was
right
this location?
trial?
Crescent, Iowa, right around there.
All right. Rural area?
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. So what did you do once you turned around?
I called 911
Okay.
almost right away.
State offers one, the 911 call.
Any objection to one?
No objection, Your Honor.
One is received.
Maybe publish it to the... Maybe publish it.
You may.
What's the address for your emergency?
I don't really have an address. We're off the exit of Crescent, Iowa, over by a public shooting area. And
I'm not familiar with that.
Crescent, Iowa.
No, I'm familiar with Crescent. I'm not familiar with the public shooting range there.
Okay, yeah.
What's going on?
So we're driving down the road to go shooting or whatever, and there is a dead body on the side of the road.
Okay. And are you guys right where it's at now?
What was that?
Are you guys right by it now?
Yeah, we.
Okay, hold on, because I'm going to see if I can find your exact location. Give me just a moment, okay? Do you know if it's male or female?
It's female for sure.
Okay, did you check to make sure she wasn't breathing? I hate to ask you to do that.
She's missing an
The
eye.
half
I don't
her
think he needs
face
to
is
touch
eaten
her.
off by like animals.
Okay, I'm so sorry. What's your callback number?
712
I know I shouldn't be
314.
laughing, but that was funny.
4651.
Okay, and what's your name?
Antonio
Antonio, what's your last name?
Davila. Davila.
Can you tell me what they're wearing?
Blue jeans, 1 shoe, a green long sleeve, and like a tan hoodie jacket over the green jacket.
Okay. How far off the roadway is she?
It's 2 feet.
Okay, and what kind of vehicle are you in?
I'm in a Chrysler minivan. Purplish black. Looks black upon arrival. It's purple.
Okay. Okay, we're going to get him out that way. Thank you so much, okay?
Oh yeah, no problem.
Thank you. Bye.
Yep. Bye.
That's all I have, thank you.
Cross? No questions, Your Honor. Thank you, Mr. Bill. You're excused and released from any subpoena.
Awesome, thank you.
State's next witness?
Judge, the state will call Nicole Shipper.
So I'm just going to pick up the speed a little bit on this. I'm a little bit edgy about using this feed. I know the audio is better, but last thing I need is getting copy cloned.
Ms. Shipper? Please come forward. I ask you to raise your right hand to be sworn. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please be seated. Counsel?
Could you state your full name and spell your last name?
Nicole Skipper, Nicole Schipper.
And what is your relationship to Eileen Gowan?
I'm her daughter.
In recent years, could you describe what kind of relationship you had with your mother?
Good times, happy times.
Yeah, kind of just want to go, move it! Move it!
I loved her very much.
Did you communicate with your mom?
Yes,
And how often did you communicate with her?
almost every single day.
And what type of communication was that? Was it by text or phone?
Yeah, phone call.
Did you also text your mom too?
Yes,
Now, do you have a boyfriend?
yes.
And what's his name?
Justin
And what's his last name?
Brammer.
And is Justin Brammer related to the defendant in this case?
Yes,
How's he related?
it's his son.
Excuse
Seriously?
me just a minute, counsel. I'm sorry. Ms. Shipper, can you hold the microphone down just a little lower? There you go. That's fine. Thank you.
And do you guys currently live together?
Yes,
And how long do you live together?
a year and a half.
How do you not look at him differently, though?
Did your mom ever live with you guys?
Yes.
And when did she live with you?
When we lived in the house in Omaha,
And how long ago was that?
7 months ago.
So at the time your mom disappeared, were you actually living in Omaha?
Yes,
And so your mom lived with you before she disappeared at some time, is that correct?
on and off. Yes,
Do you know the defendant?
yes,
Did he ever live
You
with you?
think?
yes.
And how long did he live with you?
Since March, or from August to March.
Would that have been 2022?
Yes,
And was there a time where Eileen and the defendant both lived with you at the same time?
both lived with us. Yes,
Okay. So did you know what kind of relationship they had?
yes.
How would you describe it?
Very unhealthy, on and off.
Was there ever a time where you had them move out of your residence?
Yes,
And why did you have them move out?
because all of the fighting.
And do you know where the defendant moved to after he left your residence?
Yes,
Where did he move to?
and with his granddaughter Emily.
And
I
where would that
believe
be?
so, yes. I'm pretty sure that was the
And it was at a
familial
house or
relationship
apartment
there.
complex?
Apartment,
Do you know the name of the apartment complex?
Cottonwood,
And your mom, when she moved out, do you know where she moved to?
yes,
Where did she move to?
and to the Cottonwood apartment with him,
So they both moved into the Cottonwood apartment.
yes.
And was there anyone else living in that apartment with them?
Emily,
And who's Emily?
Sam's granddaughter,
So the defendant and Eileen lived with Emily, who's the defendant's granddaughter, at Cottonwood Apartments.
yes,
I'm going to bring you back to around February 13th, 2023. Do you remember that day?
yes,
Did you talk with your mom on that day?
yes.
What time did you have a conversation with her?
Early morning around maybe 8:30, 8:30.
When was the last conversation you had with your mom?
She told me she was getting picked up, that she didn't need a ride.
And was that the 8:06 conversation, 8:06 a.m. conversation?
Yes.
And where was she at the time? Do you know that?
Sugars,
Did your mom work at Sugar's?
yes.
Do you know why she was there so early?
She cleans the
No
bar
real options.
in the restaurant,
They're
So
all
would she do the
cousins.
cleaning shift in the morning?
yes.
More caution for the portion.
Did your mom give the defendant any jewelry?
Yes.
And what jewelry was that?
A single stud earring, diamond earring,
And when did she give him that?
around Christmas
What year?
of 2022.
Did you ever know your mom to have a black safe?
Yes,
Where, have you ever seen the black safe?
yes.
And where did you see the black safe?
At our home in Omaha,
Would this have been at your residence at Omaha?
yes,
Yeah, I know you're weirded out by it too.
Did you see it when she lived with you?
yes,
Did you ever see her open the safe?
yes.
Could you describe how she opened the safe?
With the key,
Did you ever see the contents of the safe?
like what was inside,
Yes.
yes.
Like, what are some of the things that she kept in her safe?
Money, birth certificate, social security card,
Were you with your mom when she purchased the diamond stud earring?
yes,
Approach judge.
You may.
I'm handing you what's marked as Exhibit 1A. Do you recognize this?
yes.
And what is it?
It's my mom with my daughter.
And do you remember when that photo was taken?
Hey, Vices. Happy
It was at my
Steve
brother's
Day.
wedding.
Cheers, mate. And thank you for the super chat. Much appreciated. People, I'm not monetizing this stream for obvious reasons, so if you do want to send through super chats, we're now $45 away from
It would
Labracamp.
have been, sorry, it would have been 2000.
Was the safe lockpicking lawyer approved?
21.
I doubt it.
Because that's my daughter and she's 2 years old, so.
Do you know what this, can you describe what the event is, where she's at?
Yeah, she was at my brother's wedding in Illinois.
Judge, I'd like to offer Exhibit 1A.
Any objection, 1A?
No, Your Honor.
1A is received.
Judge, permission to publish 1A.
Permission granted.
Yes, it is in fact Steve Irwin Day. Well, at least here in Australia, anyway. The day where we celebrate his life and the efforts that he went to bring us such joy.
I'm going to clear the screen and see if we can try this again. This is on your laptop, right, counsel?
It is, Judge. Just played a video.
Best to clear it off and then try again. cleared it off, now you won't.
That's terrible, Malia. That's funny, but terrible.
One more try, if it doesn't work, I'll have you publish
The
the
old-fashioned
exhibit.
way, of course.
Ladies and gentlemen, technology works sometimes, and sometimes it doesn't. The left? At this point, counsel for the state, you're allowed to publish the exhibit by passing along with the jury. And I'll give them just a few moments to do that. And then now you and I'll work on the technology during our recess.
You always leave this part out of Law and Order where the tech doesn't work. Uh-huh. Oh, Bipto.
While we have a minute, counsel, is this your screen on your laptop?
Blue? No.
The icons?
Oh, it looks like it. Click out of this and do it back up again.
You know, I'm just going to skip forward through parts of this because they're just scrolling around.
Well, your laptop's connected, whether or not the...
If it lets me. Apparently not.
There's always a...
I got a different guy on the stand, so theoretically.
Okay, did you ever have a conversation with him about a truck?
Damn, too far.
About his truck?
Yeah.
Okay, what was that conversation?
Alright.
Okay.
Oh, come on. Seriously?
And then, did he say anything else about the dropping her off or anything?
I hate this.
And then a couple days later, we talked, and he said he dropped her off, couldn't pull in the driveway because of black hose.
So he says he dropped her off, and there was a black hose in the driveway?
Yep, so he couldn't pull in the driveway. He dropped her off at the end of the street.
Okay, slow down just a little
Yeah,
bit.
we just got it. We just heard that part.
So, I'm gonna make sure I get this right. So he said that he didn't drop her off in the driveway because there was a black hose in the driveway?
Yeah.
And
Okay,
this
that's not what I
was
heard
on a
the first
different
time
day,
around.
is that
Yeah.
correct? And did he have any other time that he talked about Eileen and dropping her off?
Then he dropped her off on the side of the road because he didn't know where Mike lived. And he pulled away. He saw her in the rearview mirror and she was alive. That's what he told me.
So, were those 3 different conversations?
Yes.
Were you ever aware of the defendant getting a diamond-studded earring from Eileen?
Yes.
Is this the boyfriend slash
Can you tell me
girlfriend?
about that?
Annoyingly,
Well, she got on
guys,
one
I am
knee
going to annoy
up in-
everybody, and I am going to go back because I need to know who the hell this is without them. Okay, so it was at the 1 hour mark that he dropped in. So if I try 59 minutes, is that still him? Yep. 58 minutes. I'm presuming this is. Alright.
A little before Christmas.
Oh, so there was
Christmas
talking
of
to her. Are you serious?
2022?
Yes.
Okay, so
Oh, I
a little
made a
bit
hash
before
of
December
this.
of 2022.
Alright, look, I don't care. We're skipping. Don't care. We knew that this was
I
going to
know
be
for the
mostly
questions,
about
thank you.
establishing
Redirect?
that the
No redirect,
mother
Judge.
was.
Thank you. You're excused and released from any subpoena.
There we go. She's done. Okay.
State would call Justin Brown.
Okay, this is her boyfriend, who is the defendant's son that she was dating. Now we know. I think if I speed it up to 1.5, we're not going to be able to understand what they say, though. It's IO 1.5 is probably pretty safe. Alright, we'll give it a go.
Mr. Brammer? Can I have you raise your right hand, be sworn? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Please be seated. Morning.
Thank you, Judge. Could you state your full and complete name and spell your last name?
Justin Brammer. BR.
Holy shit, it's actually fine at 1.5. You weren't wrong.
MMER.
And what is your relationship to the defendant?
He's my father.
And who's your girlfriend?
Nicole.
And you guys live together?
Yes, we did.
Where did you live in February of 2023? Where were you living?
Omaha.
And when you lived in Omaha, was there a time when the defendant and Eileen both lived with you?
Yes.
Were you aware that Nicole had reported Eileen missing?
Yes.
And when was that?
The 13th.
Was it reported on the 13th, or was it
At 9 o'clock at night.
And how did she do that? Did she go in person, or she call?
1.5 is too
We
fast.
went in person.
Alright, I'll draw it back to 1.25. There's still
During that period when Eileen was missing, did you ever have any conversations with the defendant?
It's like commentators. This is
Did you
John
ever talk
Smith,
with your
victim's
dad?
brother, age 39.
What you guys
Currently
talk
dating, not former. I know, isn't that insane? He is currently
He
dating.
asked if we heard anything about the case or anything. And
He, the defendant's son, is currently dating her,
Did he talk to
the
you
deceased's
about
daughter.
ever picking up Eileen from Sugars?
on the day she came missing,
Yes.
he said he didn't pick her up.
Okay, so can you, when did you have that conversation with him?
When she came missing, and we were asking who picked her up, he said he didn't know. Because we thought some girl picked her up, because that's what Eileen was telling us.
Okay, did you ever have a conversation with him about a truck? About his truck?
Yeah.
Okay, what was that conversation?
Asking for a motor, because he blew his motor when he took off on the cops, when he was on the run.
And do you remember having that conversation?
Yes, I do.
And what was the day of that conversation?
25th.
On the 25th, did he also talk to you about Eileen?
Yes.
And what did he say?
Just asked if we had any more information.
Did he ever tell you that he dropped her off at Mike Brockman's house?
Yes, he did.
Okay, well, let's go back to that conversation. Do you remember that conversation?
Yes, I do.
Okay, so how did the defendant bring up that conversation?
Well, he said I did pick her up, and I took her straight to Mike's.
Okay. And then, did he say anything else about it dropping her off or anything?
And then a couple days later, we talked, and he said he dropped her off, couldn't pull in the driveway because of black hose.
So he says he dropped her off, and there was a black hose in the driveway?
I wish
So
we
he couldn't
knew.
pull in the driveway, he dropped her off.
Okay, so now we're back to the black
street.
hose.
Okay, slow down just a
Hose.
little bit.
Sorry.
So, I'm gonna make sure I get this right. So he said that he didn't drop her off in the driveway because there was a black hose in the driveway?
Yeah.
And this was on a different day, is that
Yeah.
correct? And did he have any other time that he talked about Eileen and dropping her off?
Then he dropped her off on the side of the road because he didn't know where Michael lived. And he pulled away, he saw her in the rearview mirror when she was alive. That's what he told me.
Need a
So,
family
were
tree
those
to
three
draw
different
on, please?
conversations?
Yes.
Give me a second and I'll see what I can do.
Were you ever aware of the defendant getting a diamond-studded earring from Eileen?
Yes.
And can you tell me about that?
Well, she got on one knee up in my hallway where I lived, and that's when she gave it to him. It was for Christmas.
And it was a Christmas present?
Yeah.
Was it any kind of proposal?
It looked like a proposal.
What's his name?
She said he'd be my man.
Did the defendant make any statements at the time?
Oh, stop it.
Did you ever see him wear the ring, or
Yes.
the diamond earring?
Yep.
No further questions, Judge.
Cross?
Good morning, Mr. Bramer. Do you mind if I call you Justin?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Make things significantly easier.
Did you or Nicole disapprove of Sam and Eileen's relationship?
Yes.
Did you or Nicole ever threaten to withhold visitation with Eileen's grandchildren if Eileen would continue a relationship with Sam?
No.
You never said, Eileen, if you stay with Sam, you're not gonna be able to see your grandchildren?
No.
Okay, so that, if I heard that somewhere else, I'm mistaken?
Yeah.
Okay, I apologize for that. You said you had a conversation with Sam on the 25th of February regarding the motor in his truck being blown up, is that correct?
Yeah.
So was it operable to your knowledge?
Yes.
But it was just not running well?
He said it was smoking.
Okay. Do you know how Sam came to purchase that vehicle, whether he bought it like a used car lot, was it salvage title? Do you know at all?
Yeah, he bought it from where we worked, like
Okay.
the 8.
Alright, 1 second. Because I managed to make a quick tree. Present. Stop screen. Present. Share screen. Window. There you go. That's literally how it worked. So you've got Eileen, and you've got Ivan, who is the defendant. These two are dating. She is the mother of Nicole. He is the father of Justin. Nicole and Justin are also dating. Fairly straightforward in terms of the family chart. So hopefully that assisted. Where are we?
Years ago?
He purchased the vehicle 8 years ago?
Yeah.
Do you know whether it was a salvage title?
I don't recall.
You don't remember if it's a salvage?
No.
Okay. I have no further questions. Thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Judge.
Thank you. Mr. Brammer, you may step down.
State would call Emily Brammer.
Okay, so now Emily's on the stand. I believe that's the granddaughter, the one that supposedly saw him with the phone. They weren't married, so no, it is not technically incest. Oh, fuck, that's funny. When you have to get into the delineations between what is and isn't incest.
I trust we have someone retrieving Ms. Brammer.
Have I ever heard the song on my own grandpa? No, and I hope I never do.
Ms. Brammer? Good morning. You raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Yes. Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. Emily, can you state your full name for the record and spell your last name?
Emily Lynn Brammer, Brammer.
What is your relationship to the defendant?
He's my grandfather.
And where do you currently live right now? I'm not sure your specific address, but
Sherwood Apartments.
okay. At the time of back in February of 2023, did you live in a different complex?
Mm-hmm.
And what was the name of that complex?
Cottonwood.
And who lived with you at Cottonwood?
Unfortunately, when you're trailer
For a while, I was by myself until my grandpa and Eileen moved in.
And then was there a point where Eileen moved out?
Yes.
And then it was just you and your grandpa?
Added to the twig.
And your grandpa was the defendant, correct?
Yes.
The trouble is, I don't know whose daughter she is.
On February 19th, do you remember calling law enforcement because you were concerned about your grandfather?
Yes.
Why did you do that?
Because for a while before that night, he kept telling me how he was going to kill himself. And so he gave me a hug and kiss goodbye. And then he walked out the door and I started freaking out. And then he sent messages through the whole family saying like, I love you and stuff like that. And so we called because we thought he would commit suicide.
During that period when Eileen was missing, did you see any changes in your grandfather?
Yes, he used alcohol. He was threatening to commit suicide multiple times. I felt that he was angrier. He lost a lot of weight.
Now, did he work?
No, he quit his job.
And was that during the period that Eileen was missing?
Yes.
Was that unusual?
Very,
How did I
yes.
misspell granddaughter?
Now, was there a time when you followed your grandpa to Lakeside Salvage? Followed
Yes.
him in the, okay.
Mhm.
And what vehicle was he driving?
He was driving his truck.
Did he have a nickname for his truck? Did he call his truck anything?
No.
Yeah, no. I know that. That's why I've done it the way that I've done. I'll show.
What was the
Hang on.
purpose?
I will show you what the twig now looks like, so that I can keep track of everything in my head. Now we've got the family tree that looks like this. So we've got Eileen and Ivan. Hang on, why did that change from red to black? Bother. That'll do. So you've got Eileen, who was dating Ivan, or Sam as he goes by. Justin, his son, and her daughter Nicole were dating. Over here, we've got Emily's parent, because we don't specifically know who her parent is, and we've got Emily, the granddaughter, who ratted him out and supposedly said that he stole the phone. So he called his truck the panty dropper. Oh, good God. Looks like a flagpole. Well, I mean, I'm keeping track of it. It's the easiest way for me to keep track of who is doing who in this situation. So,
Purpose of going to Lakeside Salvage.
He wanted to crush his truck.
Did he tell you why?
The first couple of days before it happened, he kept saying his truck was knocking, and so that's what he told me why he did it.
Did you ever hear it knocking?
No, it's an old truck. It makes lots of noises.
She probably wouldn't know what it would sound like if the truck
Did you
was
then
knocking.
follow him to Lakeside Salvage?
Yes.
And what were you driving?
My Pontiac.
And when you got to Lakeside Salvage, what did you do?
I just waited for him.
And did your
grandpa Minecraft himself? No, because he's on trial.
Now, did you have a conversation with the defendant about what to say if law
Just as
enforcement
Nicole
asked
do
you
have a
about
kid.
the
Oh,
crushing
there you
of the
go.
truck?
Yeah, he told me just to tell him I don't know where it is
Why?
because he didn't want them to know.
If you didn't want her to have to lie, why did you even take her with you, you dumbass?
Did you ever see your grandfather with 2 cell phones when Eileen was missing?
Yes.
Here we go.
Did you recognize those phones?
Yes.
Okay, so was there anything unique about one of them?
Well, he had his own phone, and then the other one, it had a pink, colorful case on it.
And had you seen that pink case before?
Yes.
Is that yes?
Yes.
Okay. And where did you see that before?
Well, she lived with me for a while.
And who's she?
Eileen lived with me for a while, and so she's like asked me to help her on her phone for sometimes.
Okay, so did you actually hold her phone?
Yes.
In the past?
And can you be
Yes.
positive
Yes.
that the phone that your
And,
grandfather had was that same
So
phone?
were you familiar with the case?
Yes.
And is that the case you saw with your grandfather when Eileen was missing?
Yes.
Before that, had you ever seen your grandfather with Eileen's phone?
No.
Now, were you aware of a diamond-studded earring that your grandfather wore?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Eileen gave Ivan an earring for Christmas. She got down on one knee and asked him to be his man.
What the?
And what did the defendant say?
Yes.
So clearly he wasn't going to propose, so she took it upon herself to propose with a diamond-studded earring.
I'm handing you an exhibit, and it's marked as Exhibit 17. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
And what is it?
It's a picture I took of him with the earring.
Do you remember when the picture was taken?
Sometime in December, after he got the earring.
Judge, I'd like to offer Exhibit 17.
Any
Getting
objection?
into simp territory.
Exhibit 17 is received.
Permission, public?
You may. And I did connect, again, I don't know if your laptop will show it, but I understand you're publishing it manually to the jury.
Build a fence around Iowa, turn it into a reality TV show. Probably could if you really wanted to.
Any other questions of this witness, Mr. Forney?
Judge, no further questions for the witness.
Cross?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Brammer.
Good morning.
All I'm saying is
Let's
he better do a good
start off
job on
with
Cross.
the truck. You stated on direct examination that Mr. Brammer said the truck was making a lot of noise and you wanted to basically take it to get salvaged so you could get some money from it.
Yes.
Do you know when he bought that truck?
No.
Okay. Do you know if it was a salvage title or if he bought it from a dealership?
No.
How would you know
You
that?
went to get this, or he went to Lakeside Salvage on February 25th, is that correct?
Yes.
Do you remember what day Ms. Gowan's body was discovered?
No.
If I told you it was the 26th, would that sound correct to you?
Yes.
So you and your grandfather went to recycle his truck the day before Ms. Gowan's body was actually discovered, is that correct?
Yes.
I'm sorry if I missed it. How long was Ms. Gowan living at your apartment with Mr. Brammer?
For like 2 months.
Was it a continuous 2 months, or did she kind of stay at other places or couch surf or anything like that?
It was continuous.
Okay. Why did Ms. Gowan leave your apartment to live elsewhere?
Eileen and Ivan got into a fight, and then they said it was a final, so my grandpa asked her to leave.
So Mr. Bramer asked Ms. Gowan to leave, not the other way around, is that correct?
Yes.
I have no further questions, thank you.
Redirect?
Do you remember when your grandfather got arrested for looting?
I don't.
You remember him going to jail?
I do remember that, yes. I don't know the date.
Did you bond him out of jail?
I did.
Okay, you don't remember the date?
No.
No? Okay. Do you remember if you took him to the salvage before or after you bonded him out?
I crushed the truck. He crushed the truck after.
And that would that have been the day after?
Yes.
No further questions, Judge.
Anything else?
Briefly, Your Honor.
Hurry.
Yes, Your Honor. Ms. Bramer, by the 25th of February, do you know how many statements your grandfather had given to police?
Objection foundation.
Yeah, how the hell is she
Overruled,
going
she
to
can answer, she knows.
No, I don't.
Would it have been more than twice?
There you go.
Sustained.
You do know that he did have given some statements to the police, correct?
Yes.
And this alluding that the state is alluding to, that was from when the police wanted to talk to Mr. Bramer at a Walmart, is that correct?
Objection
Yes.
foundation.
That's sustained. The
And
answer
hearsay,
is,
Judge.
pardon?
And hearsay.
The answer is stricken. The objection is sustained. You can ask another question.
Ms. Bramer, do you know where Mr. Bramer began this alluding from the police?
Objection foundation.
Sustained.
Do you know when he began this alluding back in February of 2023 from the police?
Objection foundation.
Overruled,
Oh, for crying
she
out
knows.
loud.
You can answer if you know.
No, I don't.
Okay. Thank you, Your Honor. I have no further questions.
Anything else, this witness?
No, Judge.
Thank you, Ms.
I
Brown.
mean, really freaking easy to just say, do you have any knowledge about this? But no, he has to be a dipshit and try and ask the question in the same way over
Getting
and
called
over
next
again.
witness.
It's going to get him in trouble with the judge.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Megan Preston.
I swear, if this is a love child, I'm gonna
Megan
lose my shit.
Preston.
Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Preston. Good morning. Have you raised your right hand, please swear? Do you swear or affirm the testimony about the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning.
Good morning.
Could you state your name for the record and please spell your first name?
Megan, Megan Preston.
Okay. And how are you currently employed?
I own Sugar's Lounge and Diner.
Okay. Is that here in Council Bluffs?
Yes.
And just, I want to make sure this is clear on the record. That's here in Potawatomi County?
Correct, sir.
And in the state of Iowa?
Yes.
Okay. Do you know the defendant, in this case, Ivan Sam Bramer?
Yes, sir.
Do you see him in the courtroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Is he in the green shirt?
Wait. Okay, no, she's not having to look around the court reporter. She's looking around the... Okay.
Correct.
All right.
I legitimately thought she was having to turn and
did you
look around
know,
the damn court
Eileen
reporter in
Ballard?
order to get a look at
Yes.
him.
Okay. So let's start with Eileen. When did you first get to know Eileen Gowan?
Eileen came to me, I'd say probably a month or two after we originally bought Sugar's.
Okay.
And she was applying to be a morning cleaning before we opened. So she worked every day and did the restaurant cleaning, the daily stuff.
Okay. And how long have you owned Sugars?
It would have been 2 years back on July 15th, so
Okay. So July 15th of 21.
is when we took over,
You took
yes.
over, and you said probably a couple months after that.
Yeah, a month or two.
Okay,
I don't remember
so-
exactly, but
Around September
she's
of
literally sugar
21,
mom.
she
Yes.
would have started, you would have met her.
correct.
Okay. And I assume you hired her?
Yes.
Okay. And so did she then clean for you for roughly the next year and a half?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you said that was a daily job for her?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You got to answer
Yeah,
yes.
sorry.
or no. Sorry. And so was that 7 days a week, 5 days a week?
She did 7 days a week.
Okay.
Unless for some reason she had something else going on and
Yes,
then I did
the
it.
bar.
Sure.
that
Okay.
they
So
found
for a year and a
they
half,
were
7 days a week,
frequenting.
other than a few times, she was your morning cleaner?
Yes.
Right. And how long did that shift go for her morning cleaning?
Oh, generally around 2 hours.
Okay. How was her work performance?
She was very reliable.
Okay. Did a good job cleaning?
She did a great job cleaning, yes.
That is terrible.
Any issues with her showing up under the influence of alcohol?
On rare occasion, yes.
Okay. Had you seen her Had you seen her when she appeared to be intoxicated to you?
Yes,
Had you seen her when she appeared not to be intoxicated?
yes.
Okay. fair to say you saw her many days in a year and a half?
Yes.
Okay. And at some point then, did you become aware of the defendant in this case, Sam Braber?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you first come to meet him?
I think the first time I met him is when they began their relationship and he was helping her clean in the mornings.
Okay, so he wasn't really an employee, but he just showed up?
Not at that time, no.
Okay. At some point, did that change and did he become an employee?
Yes.
And in what capacity?
He did dishes in the kitchen.
Okay. And so it sounds like you first met him as he was in a relationship with Eileen.
Correct.
Did you have occasion to be aware of the nature of their relationship?
Yes.
How would you describe it?
I would kind of describe it as a roller coaster, ups and downs.
Okay. Would they break up and get back together?
Yes.
Okay. What was, did you have to deal with Eileen crying and, being emotional during those times?
Yes.
All right. Were you one of sort of the people that was there for her for support?
I tried.
Snickers bar. Love it.
Were there any occasions where, Eileen spent the night at Sugar's?
Yes.
And was this during some of those breakup periods?
Yes.
When was the last time that you saw Eileen Gowan?
I saw her at the very end of her cleaning shift. It would have been February 13th.
Okay, so the day that she ultimately went missing, you saw her that morning?
Yes.
All right. And about what time was the last time you saw her?
Right around 8:30.
Only a
Did
few
you
other
see her
local
leave with
council love
anyone?
nice to have a trial.
I was
Nice
working
Midwestern
reading tables.
accents
I just
instead
said
of
goodbye to her and she walked out the door.
Wisconsin ones with the
At that
havoc.
moment, no, I did not.
Okay. Did you, how frequently did you communicate with Eileen? Did you see her about every day?
I saw her most days, yes.
Okay. And so you would have seen her, you would have communicated with her in person?
Yes.
Did you speak with her on the phone?
Yes.
Okay. How often?
Once or twice a week, maybe?
Okay. And then did you communicate with her by text?
Yes.
All right. And how often do you think you would have texted her?
Probably once or twice a week.
Okay. Did you feel like with your seeing her almost daily and speaking to her, and by talking to her on the phone once or twice a week, and by texting her once or twice a week, did you feel like you had familiarity with her sort of patterns of communication?
Yes.
And I assume she was in your contacts list on your phone?
Yes, of course.
Okay, back to February 13th of 2023. Did you have occasion to reach out to her by text message?
I did.
All right. And do you recall about what time that was?
Probably around 2:15 in the afternoon.
Okay.
So I'm not sure how
And what
much
was the
I feel
purpose
that
of
this
your reaching out
adds
to her?
anything.
She
They're
was
basically
scheduled
just
to be
saying
on
that
shift
she
at 2:00 and she wasn't there.
had a close
Okay.
relationship
Was
with her
that unusual?
employer, and
Yes.
the fact that she was missing
I
was
think you said she was a
strange that
reliable
didn't text
worker.
her
If she
at
was
the
on
time.
shift,
It's
did she
like,
generally
well, hang
show
on.
up for work?
If
Yes.
she's dead anyway,
Were
she's
you
not going
worried
to be
about her at
texting
that
the
point?
boss irrespective of how good
Initially,
the
yes.
relationship they've got. I don't like when they try and pull this kind of crap.
Okay, so then you sent her a message. Did you get a quick reply back?
It wasn't quick, no.
Okay, so after you had sent her a message, did you reach out to the defendant in this case?
I did.
And how do you communicate with the defendant?
Via Facebook Messenger.
Okay, did you ever have a phone number for him?
I did not.
Okay. And so did you reach out to him on Facebook Messenger?
I did, yes.
Okay. And do you recall about when that was?
I think I waited probably 15 minutes or so after I initially texted Eileen.
Okay. And did he respond to you?
Yes,
How quickly?
very quickly.
Okay.
Oh, very
And
quick. Okay.
then at some point after he had responded to you, did you then get a response from Eileen's phone to you?
I did, yes.
Okay. And did you take screenshots of both the Facebook Messenger conversation and the portion of the texting with Eileen?
Interesting. Something was definitely
Did
wrong
you
with
provide those to
Wildcraft's
law
feed. They've
enforcement?
taken it
I did.
down now.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm going to show you State's Exhibit 16. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Is that a screenshot of your text conversation on the 13th with Eileen's phone?
Yes, it is.
And I'm going to show you 16A. Is that a screenshot of your Facebook Messenger conversation with Sam Bramer over on Facebook?
Yes, it is.
Offer 16 and 16A?
Any objection to 16
I will renew my previous objection to 16, Your Honor.
and 16A?
I will object to foundation hearsay.
Yeah, I see 16A, please. Might as well give me 16 as well, quite frankly. An objection to both 16 and 16A are overruled. 16 and 16A are received.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sure, let's give it a shot. I have a feeling it's not going to publish. We'll deal with that, but can we give it one chance?
Sure.
Oh, okay. I already tried that. I don't think it's the cord. We're gonna, because I don't want to take the, okay. Sounds great. We'll deal with that.
During the recess, we'll see if the other cord makes any difference. I think Ms. McDowell is correct. One of the last trials I had, we actually used the table to my left.
Okay.
And
We'll get it figured out during the break, Your Honor. I'm not that concerned with it. Okay, so, but I do want to discuss with you, actually, I'm going to go back.
see what's here.
I'm going to direct your attention to 16 to start with. So I believe that's the texting back and forth between your phone and Eileen's phone.
Yes.
All right. So it looks like, what time did you reach out to her?
I reached out at 2:20.
Okay, what did you say to her?
I just said, "Where are you?"
Okay, and did you receive a response ultimately?
I did receive a response.
And
Yes.
what time does that response come in?
2:44.
All right, and what was that response?
It says, "I'm done. Leave me alone."
All right, did that seem odd or unusual to you in any way?
It did.
And why was that?
Eileen liked working at Sugar's. She loved being there, and so it did seem weird that she would just all of a sudden decide not to.
Okay, and did that text then, were you initially like suspicious whether that was her or was not her?
No, not initially.
Okay, and then at some point did that opinion change?
Yes.
And why was that?
It changed because she never showed up. I assumed if she were having a bad day that she would, call me and try to reconcile.
Okay, so initially your thought was maybe she's just drunk and, I don't.
Initially, I thought maybe she was just having a bad day.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever see the defendant again after the conversation? You'd Facebook messaged him on the 13th. Did you ever see him again after that?
Not physically.
Okay. Did you have some more, I think as we look at 16A?
I did.
All right. And did he express to you that he was planning on coming back to work?
Yes.
And did he come back to work?
No.
All right. But you said you never saw him again physically. How did you see him?
I believe he was parked out back behind the restaurant on a shift. He was supposed to be there in the morning.
Okay. And was that something that you were able to pick up on your surveillance?
On my security videos, yes.
Okay. So as you're in the office at Sugar's, you can see a live feed of the video that's going on?
Correct.
Okay. And so you saw that he was outside, you said, when you thought he was going to be supposed to be working?
Yes.
And what was he in a vehicle? Was he standing around?
Just sitting in a vehicle. Yes.
Okay. Do you recall what vehicle?
I don't.
Okay. But you recognized him on the video?
Yes.
All right. Did you attempt to contact him at that point?
Yes.
Okay, and how did you do? What'd you do?
Well, I was doing the morning cleaning, so I told him if he was bored, he could come in and help.
Did you get any reply?
I did.
Okay. What was the reply?
He asked the whole bar,
Okay.
and then I said no, but I never got a response after that.
All right. And he never came in? And did you see him again after that date?
No.
Is today in court the first day you've seen him since then?
Yes.
I want to talk very briefly about some of your surveillance videos. We're not going to worry about playing them right now, but I do want to discuss them with you.
Okay.
So you've got cameras at Sugar's?
Yes.
All right. And is there any issue with the timestamp on your cameras?
Yes.
And what's that issue?
It'll say an hour later than it actually is.
Okay.
I'm not very good with technology. I don't know how to change the
So
time on
like
it.
daylight savings time, et cetera, it's just,
Yes.
you don't change it, right?
I
So
don't, I just leave it.
So for the videos that were retrieved for February of '23,
Mm-hmm.
when you're saying it was an hour ahead, so if the timestamp on the video that we have says 9:30 a.m., it would actually be,
8:30.
okay,
AM.
perfect. So it's what everyone here will see is a timestamp, it's in, the actual time is an hour
Correct. It's 1
before.
hour later than it actually is.
Okay, so I want to make, the video is an hour later.
Yes.
All right, so you personally saw Eileen, it sounds like you testified, you personally saw her leave the bar at 8:30 in the morning
Yes.
on the 13th. And so if there's a video of her leaving and it says 9:30, that's why it's different.
Correct.
Okay. And again, I'm not going to let defense counsel take a look at those real quick. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as State's Exhibits 3, skip one, 3B, and 3D. Do you recognize these items?
Yes.
And are these copies of...
Sorry, folks, duty called.
Sugars that were provided to law enforcement from the 13th of February.
Hopefully I haven't missed anything.
And I noticed that it looks like there's some initials and a date in Sharpie on them.
Yes.
Are those your initials?
Yes, they are.
And that's your dates?
Yes.
So you actually reviewed these to make sure they were accurate?
I did not.
You did not actually watch them? Okay. But you provided them to the police?
Yes.
Okay, so you've seen these before?
Yes.
Okay. And then I'm going to show you 3A and 3C. And are those screenshots from those videos we're talking about?
Yes.
All right. Offer 3, 3A, 3B, 3C, and 3D.
Let's take them one at a time. Any objection to 3?
I have no objection to any of the exhibits, Your Honor.
All right. Exhibit 3, 3A,
That makes it nice and
3B,
straightforward.
3C, and 3D are all received.
We're going to publish those probably later today or tomorrow through Detective Brannigan, so we won't worry about the tech. That's great. So as you saw her on
Duty.
that
Yeah,
morning,
do some
8:30,
work.
as she's walking out,
I had to
Yes.
take a phone call.
did she successfully complete her cleaning that day?
Yes.
Anything odd or unusual about her behavior?
No.
Did a good job cleaning?
Absolutely.
That's all I have, thank you.
Cross, Ms. Munger?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. Good morning, Ms. Preston.
Good morning.
Earlier, you described the relationship between Sam and Eileen as a roller coaster relationship, is that correct?
That is correct.
What do you mean by a roller coaster relationship?
Well, some days, like everyone, they had good days, and some days they did not.
Did you ever see any physical assault between Sam and Eileen?
No.
So any argument that they may have had was just a verbal argument?
From what I saw, yes.
Okay. Were these arguments more or less common based upon Eileen's use of alcohol?
I couldn't say.
Okay. You mentioned that you thought that Eileen may have been having a rough day on the 13th based upon, her not texting you quickly, is that correct?
Yes.
Did Eileen ever, at any time during her employment, threaten to quit her job when she was having a rough day?
No.
And you never threatened to fire her when she was having a rough day?
I did.
You did. Do you recall how many times in the time that she was employed that you threatened to fire her?
2.
And what was your reasoning for leveling these threats to fire her from her job?
Would you repeat that? I'm sorry.
I apologize. What was the reason that you were basically saying, clean up your act or you're going to be fired?
Just that attitude.
Attitude, okay. Thank you, Ms. Preston. I have no further questions.
Redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Preston, you are excused. And this witness can be released from any subpoena.
Yes. Thank you.
Judge, say recall Michael Bruckman.
Brockman, the board here. I ask you to raise your right hand and be sworn. You swear or affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. Mr. Brockman, can you state your full name and spell your last name?
Michael Dean Brockman, Brockman.
What's your occupation?
Michael Dean
Parts
Brockman.
manager for a body shop.
Did you know Eileen Gowan?
I've met her a few times.
Were you ever in a relationship with her?
No.
Where's your address? Where do you live?
19918, 205th.
Approximately where's that at from Sugars?
About 2.5 miles to the north and then just a little bit to the south.
Is that off of Railroad Highway?
Yes, it is, on 205th Street.
And do you rent or own?
Rent.
And who do you rent from?
Carol Martin.
And do you rent like a basement?
I rent the basement, yes.
Now, were you ever approached by Eileen about moving in with you?
She needed a place to stay for a couple days and I allowed it, but I told her that was it.
And what was the arrangement when she was staying there?
She stayed in the bedroom and I'd sleep on the couch or in my recliner.
And what were the nights that she actually stayed there?
The 12th and 13th of February.
Well, let's go back to.
That is a really bad
let's think
spot
about
for the
actual
stenographer.
days.
They could have
So
put it everywhere,
The 12th
anywhere
would have
else.
been a Sunday,
Yes.
okay? And then, so she stayed on Sunday night?
Saturday night and Sunday night.
Okay, so that would that then be the 11th and the 12th?
Yeah, I guess, yeah.
Okay. And this is February, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you tell her that she had to move out?
I told her that she could stay for 2 days and she agreed to that. And she packed her clothes up and ready to leave on Monday morning.
Were you aware of any drama between the defendant and Eileen?
Smoker definitely drinks
I heard
Coors
her
Light,
talking
doesn't want
about
to be
him,
there.
but I tried to
Nope.
stay away from it.
So it'd be fair to say that you allowing her to stay at your place temporarily was just an act of kindness?
Yes.
Now, you'd stated that she had all her belongings together,
Yes.
and on Monday, the 13th of February, did you have to work?
Yes, I did.
So describe to me what you did that morning of February 13th.
I dropped Eileen off at her place of employment,
And where was that?
Sugar's Lounge.
And how far is that
Constables.
how far is that from your residence?
About 2.5 miles.
Did
Would
the
that
boyfriend
be
get jealous?
kind of on
I
the way
think
to work
that's
for
the
you?
argument they're
Right
trying
on
to
the
make.
way to work.
And
Like, that's the
where
motive
do you
behind
actually
it.
work?
1519 South 3rd Street in Omaha.
So you
Paul
work-
Leck and Sons Body Shop.
So you work on the Omaha side, or on the
Yes.
Nebraska side? Okay. So the arrangement was for her to have her stuff ready in the morning, is that correct?
Yes.
And did she have it ready?
Yes.
And then when was she supposed to pick it up?
After her shift.
Now, did you end up going to work on the 13th?
Yes, I did.
And for you, what's a normal work day for you?
I arrive around 5:30 and leave between 4 and 4:30 in the afternoon.
And is that what you did on Monday?
Yes.
And is that what you did on Tuesday?
Yes.
So did you drop off Eileen in the morning at Sugars?
Yes, I did.
And about what time was that?
A little after 5.
Now, when you got off work, where did you go?
Home.
Is that what you typically do?
Once in a while I'll stop and have a beer, but normally I go home and I gotta do chores and things.
And when you
Like
stopped
a
to have a
regular
beer, would that be at Sugars?
Yes.
And is that where you met Eileen?
Yes.
So you know her from Sugars?
When she was a waitress.
But on the February 13th, that Monday, you just went directly home, right?
Yes.
And when you got home, was her stuff still at your house?
Yes, it was.
And were you surprised by that?
Yes.
Did Eileen ever have a key to your house?
No.
Did she ever have a key to the owner of the house, the upper level?
No.
If Eileen was dropped off at the house, is there any way that she could get into the upstairs or the downstairs by an unlocked door?
No, there isn't.
And can you kind of describe the residence?
Well, it's right off at 205th Street. You pull in to the driveway and you go up a small embankment and you go to past the front of the house, and then you gotta walk around the back of the house to get to the basement door.
And is there anything on this property that is unique? Like horses or anything like that?
Oh, yes, we board horses out there, and the landlady's got two dogs.
What's the landlady's name?
Carol Martin.
Pork chop in a can.
Do you help with some of those chores?
Yes.
Now, going back to the Eileen's stuff that she had ready to be picked up, what was your knowledge about when and it was supposed to be picked up?
She was gonna get it after her shift, and it was sitting outside of the house by the entry door.
Now, do you know if Eileen had a car or not?
No, I don't.
Did you ever see her driving?
Not for a long time.
And you were giving her rides? Or you gave her a ride that morning?
Yes, yes.
So did you have any idea who was going to be bringing her out to your place to
No.
pick up the
No, I
property?
didn't.
So when was the last time you ever saw Eileen?
Just a little after 5 a.m. on that Monday morning, the 13th.
And so
You
when
guys
you
are
come home
hilarious.
from work and you see that her stuff is, or her belongings are still there outside the house, what did you do?
I tried to get in contact with her with no luck, and I explained to her that I was gonna take them in and put them behind sugars so she could get them there.
Okay, so did you do that? Did you have a conversation with her?
No, no,
Okay.
I never had any conversation.
But you tried.
I tried.
And so would you have called her and left a message?
I can't remember if I called her or if I texted her.
Okay. And after you left the message, what did you do with the property?
I took it in and placed it behind sugars by a cooler.
And about what time did you do that?
I don't remember exactly.
Was it dark out? Or?
Yes, it
Oh,
was
man.
dark.
No further questions, Judge.
Any cross?
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
As if they were just gonna let that go. Are you kidding me?
Good morning, Mr. Brockman.
Good morning.
Can you tell me again where you currently work?
Paul Luck and Sons in Omaha, Nebraska.
And what is your normal daily job activities or duties?
I'm a parts manager. I go after parts. I test drive trucks. I help the technicians.
So when you say you go out for parts, like, are they hard to find parts, or do you just go to an
Never
AutoZone,
seen
or what's your
one
normal
documentary.
day
I go-
tracking down parts?
We do work
That is
on
very
heavy
specific.
equipment, so I'm going to Peterbilt, Freightliner in Council Bluffs, Vanderhaeg's in Council Bluffs, Jim Hawk, Volvo in Omaha, several places in Omaha.
So are most of these trucking companies, for lack of a better word, kind of the ones right off the I-80 interstate, kind of by
Yes.
the South Expressway?
Yes, they are.
And do you recall if you had to go out into Council Bluffs on Monday, the February 13th?
I don't recall. I'm sure I did, but I can't tell you where I went. I don't remember.
Do you provide receipts for any parts that you purchase on behalf of the company?
For every part I get, there's a receipt.
Okay. And was anyone, or is anyone ever with you when you go out and buy these parts?
Very seldom I'm with anyone.
Okay. You stated on direct examination that you allowed Ms. Gowan to stay with you for 2 nights.
Yes,
Is there a reason that you only allowed her to stay with you for 2 nights?
I was just trying to help her out, and that was enough time for her to find someplace, I felt, so.
I still reckon
Did
they
That
need
was
to throw
the
one.
agreement when she started to stay there.
I apologize for interrupting. Did she tell you where she was going to be staying after the 13th?
No,
Or were you ever warned about having Ms. Gowan stay at your residence?
no,
Objection, calls for hearsay.
Overruled.
Could you repeat your answer?
no.
You stated on direct examination that you just dropped off Eileen's belongings outside of Sugar in the evening, is that correct?
Correct.
Did you leave them out in the open, or did you try to put them underneath anything or inside the building?
I put them beside a cooler that's in, kind of hidden away.
But it was still out in the open, correct?
Yes, it was.
You didn't think to maybe give her another day or two to come back and pick up her belongings from your apartment?
Objection, argumentative.
Overruled.
Yeah, that one wasn't
No.
gonna make you look good.
No further questions, thank you.
Any redirect?
No redirect, Judge.
Thank you.
That was a nice
Brockman,
place
you may
to-
step down and
to
excused
stop.
And released from any subpoena. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're going to take a morning recess at this time. Please remember that admonition that I spent so much time reading it yesterday. Keep an open mind. Don't talk about this case amongst yourselves or anyone else. And thank you for not bringing too big a water bottle. We'll be in recess until 11:20. Thank you.
Hang on. I'm going to check here. Oh, you say 11:20. Oh, hang on. There's potentially motions there. Because what I'm going to do is I'll break it up at lunch. So we can get some other things done. Okay, it doesn't look like there's any motions. Okay, we seem to be... Camera guy is sorting himself out. Not quite sure what he's doing.
The timestamp on a physical printout, you can't read the times. You can read them on the digital copy that comes up on the screen.
Okay, just arguing over something. 12, 11 there, so we'll get 12, 12. Okay. Oh, actually, how long's the lunch break? Actually, it only looks like there's about an hour 20 left of the testimony. You know what? We might even just get through this. Alright, so jury's coming in. And that'll more or less bring us up to date, I think.
Please be seated, folks. We're back on the record after our late morning recess. The state may call their next witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. State calls Marcia Delahoy.
Marcia Delahoy. Who is Marcia Delahoy? And why does she matter? What is her opinion on this?
Ms. Delahoy, I gave you the state. We're here. Have you raised your right hand, you sworn? You swear affirm the testimony about to give you the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. Thank you. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you state your name and spell both your first and last name for the record, please?
Marcia Delahoy, M-A-R-C-I-A.
Hey, the movie The Stenographer.
L-E-H-O-Y.
All right, thank you. And how are you currently employed?
I own Paul Lupton Sons Body Shop.
Okay, you're the owner?
I'm the owner.
And how long have you owned that body shop?
10 years?
Okay, so you certainly were the owner on February of this year?
Yes.
Okay. And are you familiar with a gentleman by the name of Mike Brockman?
Very.
Okay, and how do you know Mike?
He's our parts manager.
Okay, and how long has Mr. Brockman worked for you?
3 years? I have to pull his file.
Sure. So are part of your duties then to maintain custody of and monitor time cards, timesheets, et cetera?
Yes.
Okay. And were you requested to pull some job cards and weekly timesheets for Mike Brockman?
Yes.
All right. And did you provide those then to law enforcement?
I did.
Okay. I approach, Your Honor.
You may.
I'm going to show you Exhibit 18A, 18B, and 18C. Do these appear to be the documents that you provided to law enforcement?
Yes.
Okay. Offer 18A, B, and C.
Any objection to 18A, B, or C?
No, Your Honor.
May we publish, Your Honor?
You may, and 18A, 18B, and 18C are all received.
18A. Okay. So I know you can't really read it on this, so I'm going to ask you to maybe take a look at the time clock. But, oh, no, I like the ones.
Gives off sweet lady down the street vibes. Kinda.
Okay, that's good.
There you go.
All right. So,
She's a business manager though, so I reckon she'd know how to be nasty if she needed to.
Sorry, were you able then to determine that Mike Brockman worked on the 13th of February? All right. And we'll try to get a darker copy for when it goes back to the jury. But what time did he clock in that morning?
That would have been, oh Lordy. He usually clocks at about 6 o'clock.
Okay, well, I'm going to walk back up. My eyeballs don't work good
Without
for
being
this.
able to see the print, because it didn't come out very dark, but I believe it's
Come up here.
about 6 o'clock. Oh.
All right, so looks
Oh,
like
there we go.
05.
5.98, I believe is what
Okay.
that says, which is, it's
About
clock.
6 o'clock. And then it looks like you
3:30.
clocked at 3.
15:56 is 3:30.
0.56.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a good.
It's military time.
Sure. So, that's not 3:56, right? That's
No,
3.56. That's the way your clock system works
Yeah,
out. Okay.
15:56 is like 3:30.
All right, so then when you write 9:58 below, that is, he worked 9.58 hours that day?
Correct.
Okay, and then could you oh, okay, yeah, thank you, that's a good call. So, 189, is that your employee code?
That's his employee number.
Okay, so you have a record that he punched in at around 6 in the morning and he punched out around 3:30 afternoon? Okay, now put up 18B. And so for the 14th, again, Mike is the name, right, in 189. And it looks like, what time did he punch in that day?
5.96,
Okay.
close,
Once again, close to 6.
and 15:63.
I'll be right back, Pete.
60, looks like 63.
Little after 3:30, 63, I believe.
Great, okay. And then scroll down a bit more. So then that shows again 9.67 hours that day?
Correct.
All right, and if we could go to 18C. It's fine, I think, okay.
There you go.
Okay. So once again, if we go down to the line on 189, right, you said that was Mike's employee code?
Correct.
And that shows Mike Brockman, and then would that show how, the days that he worked, or the,
Yes.
all days it looked like he worked about 50 hours that week?
Yes.
Is that a typical week for Mr.
Typical
Brockman?
for Mike, yes.
Okay. Now, with his duties, does he leave the business for some periods of time throughout the day?
To go
Duties.
pick up parts in different locations.
Okay, so if he left, do you monitor every one of his comings and goings?
He always tells me when he leaves, and he always tells me when he gets back.
Okay, and if he showed up back without parts, that'd be a concern?
May be unusual, but not, depending if they didn't have the parts ready. He
Okay.
might come back without them,
All right,
but usually he's got parts.
Sure, there'd be a conversation about it, because that's his job, is literally picking up and dropping off parts. Is that correct?
Yes, part of it.
Okay. Anything odd or unusual that you recall about his work days on the 13th and 14th of February?
Nope.
That's all I have, thank you.
Okay.
Any cross?
Yes. Good morning, Ms. Delloy.
Morning.
Would you note through your time system exactly when Mr. Brockman would leave to go pick up parts and when he would return?
No, he
And you
just tells me verbally he's leaving.
And you have no recollection of whether he actually went and got parts on the 13th or 14th?
I would not, honestly don't remember. I would say yes, because he, usually during the day, there's one or two places he's gotta go.
And if he would have left for, say, an hour or 2 hours, would that have been unusual?
Very.
Okay, how long does he normally leave?
30 minutes, 40 minutes.
But you just have no records of that, it's just him coming and going and telling you such? I have no further questions, thank you.
Any redirect?
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Ms. Delahoy, you are excused and released from any subpoena. State's next witness.
Judge State would call Carol Martin.
Ms. Martin, if you could step right on up here. Good morning. Please raise your right hand. Do you swear affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. Morning, Carol. Could you state your full name for the record?
Carol Martin,
How do you spell your last name?
Martin.
What's your occupation?
I own a saddle shop, and I also board horses.
And where's your residence?
19918 205th Street, Council Bluffs, Iowa.
And is that off of Railroad Highway?
Yes,
Is it roughly 2.5 miles from Sugar's?
yes,
Now, are those stables at your residence?
yes,
So you be fair to say you have a little horse farm? Or
yes.
is it- yeah, Okay. Do you have a renter that lives with you?
Yes, I do.
And who's the name of the renter?
Michael Brockman.
Did you say Brockman?
Brockman.
Yep. And how long has Michael Brockman rented from you?
Probably a year or so in that vicinity.
How do you describe him as a renter? Is it a good one, bad one?
He's a very quiet guy, yeah, very good renter.
Follows the rules?
Yes,
Did you ever see a lady by the name of Eileen Gowan at Mike's residence?
yes.
And when was that?
That would have been on a Saturday, the 11th, I believe, yeah.
Did you have any, I'm not asking you to say what she said, but did you ever have any conversations with her?
Yes, I did.
And how many times did you see her?
I just seen her come to the residence with Mike, and then I did talk to her on the patio just a little while later.
Were you aware that Mike was letting her stay in the basement?
I understood that, yes.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your property. Do you have any animals on your property other than horses?
Yes, dogs.
And when, let's say a stranger comes to your property, do the dogs bark? What do they do?
Yeah, they alert you.
They do, they let you know.
They always bark.
I'm going to take you back to February 13th, 2023. Do you remember that day?
Yes.
And were you working at the residence that day?
Yes.
What about the morning?
Yes, it was.
What time do you believe that you were at the residence in the morning?
Well, we usually go out and feed horses, in the 8 o'clock to 9 range, and then we're there all day, pretty much.
Did you keep your house locked when you went down to the stables?
Yes.
If you would have been in the house, would you have been able to identify whether someone would walk around your house? Or how did I'll retract that. Where was Mike's residence?
The entry to his was on the back side of the house.
So he had a basement apartment?
Yes.
And he had his own access door?
Yes.
And if Mike were to have a visitor, would they have to walk around the house?
Yes.
To enter into Mike's residence?
Yes.
On February 13th, 2023, did you ever see anybody walk around the residence?
No.
Did you ever have an occasion that you heard the dogs barking as if a stranger was at your property?
No.
Was there anything about the morning of February 13th that would make you think that someone was on your property?
No.
I have no further questions.
Any cross?
Ms. Martin, good morning.
Good morning.
So the only time you actually physically saw Ms. Gowan at Mike's residence was on February 11th?
Yes.
You didn't see her on February 12th?
No.
And you didn't see her on February 13th?
No.
No further questions, thank you.
Quick read, right, Judge?
You may.
Do you have a black hose?
We own some, but
Would you ever have a black hose out on your driveway?
Your Honor, objection outside the scope.
no.
Excuse me. Overruled, I'll allow it. Did you answer this question?
No.
No further questions.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Martin. You are excused and released from any subpoena.
All right, thank you.
It's 11:40. I'd like to at least start another witness.
We've got a real quick one we can definitely get. We're going to call Detective Dyer first. He's about a 5-minute witness. Then we've got Detective Roberts.
All right. We didn't have time to start another one, but we'll see. Go ahead and call your next witness.
So he's going to call Detective Matthew Dyer.
This is left before lunch. And then we'll see how long they go after. I'll double check.
Detective Dyer, have you raised your right hand? You swear or affirm the testimony that's given the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Your Honor. Could you state your name and spell your last name for the record, please?
My name is Matt Dyer, D-Y-E-R.
All right. And how are you currently employed?
I'm employed with the City of Council Bluffs. I'm a detective with the Council Bluffs Police Department.
People asking what was with the black hose question. So reportedly, part of the defense was that he didn't park in the driveway or something because it was blocked off with black hose at the time. Apparently there was some sort of, I think they were just trying to undermine his testimony that's going to come up. Whether or not he actually testifies on his own behalf is another thing. But part of the story was that there was something specific about a black hose being in the driveway at the time, and that's why he didn't pull into the driveway because he didn't want to run over it. So that's why they were asking about that. So.
Okay. And how long have you been in the Detective Bureau?
Previously, I was a narcotics detective for about 5 years, and now I'm a criminal detective with our CID unit.
Okay. And CID stands for Criminal Investigation Division?
Correct.
All right. At some point, did you become involved in at least assisting in a missing persons investigation with, regarding Eileen Gowan?
Yes,
All right. And did you have occasion to meet the defendant in this case, Ivan Sam Bramer?
correct.
All right. How did that come about?
I was asked by Sergeant Roberts to pick Mr. Bramer up on the 15th, I believe, come in for an interview.
Okay. And so where did you pick him up?
At his residence, in an apartment, not North Cape, but I forget what it's called.
Cottonwood?
Yes, Cottonwood.
Okay. So you went and picked him up at the Cottonwood Apartments?
Yes.
All right. And after you picked him up, what'd you do?
Brought him back to the station and sat in the interview with Sergeant Roberts.
Okay. And did Sergeant Roberts actually conduct that interview?
Correct.
Okay. After the interview was completed, what did you do?
Took him back to his residence.
Okay. And did you make any observations of him and his activities when you dropped him off back at his at the apartment?
Yeah, correct. When he got out of the vehicle, he went straight to the dumpster, which would be maybe the southeast corner of the parking lot, and kind of loomed around and looked around at it.
Okay. And then at some point, did he go into his apartment?
Yes.
All right. Did you see him put anything in or take anything out of the dumpster?
No.
Okay. I know I've read your reports. Looked like you maybe reviewed and retrieved some videos in this case.
Yes.
And were you the detective that received screenshots from Megan Preston?
Yes.
Any other involvement in this case?
No.
Nothing further.
Any cross?
Yes, for your honor. Can you explain to me a little bit so the jury understands? Is there a lead detective in this case?
Yes, that'd be Detective Brannigan.
Okay. Was it initially Detective Roberts?
When it comes to missing people or persons, it gets assigned to our sergeants first.
And with everybody's activity, because there was a lot of officers who did a lot of small projects, right?
Correct.
Would they all report back to either Roberts or Brannigan?
Usually, yes.
You say usually. When would they not?
Well, forgive me for saying usually, yes, we would report. Our reports and statements, we're in a small unit, so we're all talking with one another during all this time.
And every time you're given a project, you write a report, correct?
Yes. Depending on the severity of it. If I'm just running around doing something that doesn't really affect something, I may not put a report in.
All right, so you got video from Centris.
Yes.
And any place else?
I don't believe so.
Did you view any video from any place else?
Let me rephrase that. I believe I got some video from the Sherwood Apartments. I was assigned to help with that, and the Centris as well.
Whose residence was at Sherwood Apartments?
It wasn't anybody's. I think, if I remember correctly, there was talk of either Eileen or Bramer getting an apartment at Sherwood.
No other involvement as far as any
If I had
other
a choice
pictures,
between being on
videos,
Friday Night Tights or Geeks and Gamers
interviews,
Tuesday Night Main
anything
Event,
else?
which would you choose?
No other videos, no.
Nothing further.
I reckon I'd be
Maybe
pretty
right,
out of
right,
place
right.
on either of them,
Thank
frankly.
you.
Excused.
Probably Geeks and Gamers, simply because I'd have more to talk about, I think. Friday Night Tights, I haven't spent a lot of time watching much of the content or really getting up to it. I know that it's like a massive group thing, but honestly, at this point in time, I'd probably say that I wouldn't really know. More than likely Geeks and Gamers. But that's only because I know that about them peripherally, in terms of, like, the D&D streams and things like that. Alright, what are you talking about here?
Statement, call the next witness.
Judge, the state would call Sergeant Ted Roberts.
Sergeant Wright, you swear affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth? I do. Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. Can you state your full and complete name?
My name is Ted Roberts.
What is your occupation?
I'm a sergeant with the Council Bluffs Police Department.
And your sergeant, what would be some of the job duties that you do?
My current assignment is a supervisor in our Criminal Investigations Division. I supervise 9
I can't wait till I get rid of this
different
cough.
detectives.
I really
also
can't.
take care of any and all missing persons cases that from last name starting with A to M in the alphabet.
And were you assigned to missing person Eileen Gowan?
Yes, I was.
Now, do you know when you first spoke with the family regarding the missing persons report?
Would have been on February 15th.
And who did you talk with?
I talked to Nicole. I believe that's Eileen's daughter.
Now, there was
Yeah.
some point in time where
I think
there was
they'll enjoy
some other
themselves and have
individuals
fun
that
with
might
that.
have seen her last, is that correct?
Correct.
Okay, did you follow up with those individuals?
I did.
And who were the individuals?
I'd received information that she could have last been seen by an Ivan Bramer or a Michael Brockman. I believe those were the two names that popped up first.
And Ivan Bramer, would he be in the courtroom today?
Yes, he is.
And where's he sitting?
Right there.
And what
The
color shirt
green,
does he have?
the green shirt there. Yes.
Did you have an occasion to interview Mr. Bramer?
I did.
And when did you do that?
I had him come into the police station on the 15th and then again on the 17th.
Okay, let's focus on the 15th.
Yeah, no,
So
I
you
get
interviewed
that
him
as
on
well.
the 15th.
Yes.
And was there anyone else there when you were present?
Yes, there was another officer there. It was Detective Matt Dyer.
And at that point, this was a missing persons case, correct?
Correct.
So what's your goal, your objective when you're interviewing Mr. Bramer?
I'm just trying to gather as much information as I possibly can on possible locations, when Eileen would have last been seen, what direction she could have been traveling, any information that she might have given anybody as to, hey, I'm going to do this, I'm going this place, whatever it may be.
So the February 15th, that would have been 2 days after she went missing, is that correct?
Correct. It was actually the day that was reported to us.
Did you ever speak with Megan Preston?
Yes, I believe she's the manager and or boss at Sugars.
So at that time, when you were talking with the defendant on the February 15th interview, did you have any information at that time?
No, the only information I had at that time was that he possibly picked her up from work at around 8:30 in the morning. That was the only information I had. So I was wanting to talk to him to find out after he picked her up where they would have went.
And is that common in terms of a missing persons case?
Correct. You just try to track down as much information as you can about possible locations.
I'm handing you my approach.
You may.
Exhibit marked as 5A for identification. Are you familiar with that?
Yes, it came in yesterday.
Ooh, thank you for that.
And are those your initials right there?
Do we have eggnog? Yes, we have eggnog.
What's that number right there?
They
That's 28 is my officer number.
have it in the supermarket starting. Actually, they may even already have it by now.
From the 15th, was that recorded?
Yes, it
What I'm looking forward is is the brandy custard.
What happened in that interview?
Love me my brandy custard with Christmas pudding.
I'd like to offer 5A.
Any objection to 5A?
No objection, Your Honor.
5A is received.
Judge, we would publish 5A.
You may. While you're beginning to bring that up, please do not start it yet because I have an admonition for the jury. Ladies and gentlemen, you're about to hear an audio-video recording. And sometimes with audio-video tapes, they may contain inadmissible evidence or evidence that the court has previously found to be irrelevant to this case. If that has been the case, then the court instructs counsel to redact certain elements from the recording. Also, statements and questions by law enforcement officers and other investigators during the interview with the defendant are not evidence, and not evidence for you to be considered for their truth. The defendant's answers and responses to those questions and statements are evidence. And with that, the state may play the audio video.
Yeah, well, you don't want to drink too much eggnog.
Counsel, I think you control the audio. If not, let me know and I'll turn it up there.
Nicely done there,
Do you have
counsel.
control of the audio up there?
Increasing it now.
So, Judge, if I can interrupt, meeting would bring down Bluetooth speakers, however, they might be able to put the mic towards the computer if there's a speaker on the computer. Never know how that will sound.
We'll just take a lunch break and deal with it, bring the speakers down.
Either that or you want to try your microphone?
It's not playing at all. We had it playing, Your Honor. There's no sound, period. So I don't think that's just ours.
Ladies and gentlemen, this appears to be an excellent time for a luncheon recess.
And tech strikes
We're going
again.
to be taking a luncheon break, and I'm going to try to keep it at an hour. I know that that's sometimes a little difficult, and trust me when I say we're not going to start without you. So let's be in recess until 1 o'clock. That gives you just over an hour for lunch, and as soon as you're all back, we'll get back on the record. Please remember that admonition I've given you. Don't talk about this case, and please continue to keep in mind. And thank you for not using your cell phones. Let's not be using them today. All right, thank you.
Okay, so they then go on to break for a very long period. I mean, he said an hour. It goes for... Oh no, it's just over an hour. Although that's funny because it looks like they keep the court will be right back. Looks like there's an hour and 15 left. Alright, in terms of timing. Look, I think I could probably...
Claire, before we have the jury join us.
Probably finish this off.
You and counsel went through this and it's working? Our controls not even on. Here we go.
That's funny.
Was the volume fine?
We're good.
I'm gonna skip ahead because they're just arguing over. This is the cow tipping break.
My name's Ted Roberts. I'm sorry.
You got on the phone with you and you said that I was the last person to see her alive.
I didn't say that.
Yep.
I didn't say that.
Yes, you did.
Yeah.
Yes, you sure did.
I said you were the last person that saw her before she went missing. So that's why it was important for us to talk to you.
As soon as you said that on the phone, I said, no, I didn't. I want them to arrest me. I don't have a lawyer.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's a...
I'm gonna mute myself because this audio is terrible and annoyingly we don't have captions, so I'll try and chime in when I can, but this is gonna hurt.
I think you misheard me there. I got it recorded. I'll have to go back and listen to it. But yeah, I'm pretty sure that's not what I said. But I mean, basically, we got a crazy deal here where Eileen is evidently per family and everything else. She's never done this kind of thing before. She's never just took off and gone. They all know
What she does is she comes to me. She's moved in with me 4 or 5 times. But usually when she moves in with me, she stays away from home.
Yeah, because they said they talk every day. The daughter and her talk every day by the phone or whatever she says. Yeah.
If they need, okay, then she's homeless.
Okay.
When
you work at Sugars as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were supposed to work today.
Mm-hmm.
You called in sick or what did?
I got up sick. I went home to see what I could find. I did on my sleep. Getting called in my father.
Oh well, yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah, I'm not sure.
That, and I'm not putting up with the hassle. I guess she called my boss and asked my boss if I was sleeping or if we had something going on. Eileen did.
Eileen called your boss?
My boss, yeah.
Which one? Emily or Jill?
You don't.
Who's your boss?
Donna.
Donna's your boss? She's the cook back there?
Right.
She cooks with you, so you consider her your boss?
Yeah. She's actually my boss. Megan really don't tell me anything to do. Because she lets the lady run the kitchen herself.
Okay. Also, Donna just takes care of her kitchen. She hires and fires who she wants to hire and fire out of the kitchen?
Yeah, the kitchen part, yeah. The part is out on Eileen's side. That's mostly, not even Jill. Jill's the silent partner.
Okay, just a warning to anyone that's turned up the volume. I'm going to boost the audio on this, and then hopefully when they come back to court, I'm going to be smart enough to remember to turn it down. So, let's try this. Ear warning.
Megan.
Megan's the owner?
She is the, hiring and firing people.
Gotcha. So, if you could, I just need to know what went on Monday morning. What happened Monday morning with you?
She texted me.
Okay.
And wanted to know if I would come and get her. Because one of her friends supposedly was supposed to come and get her. And supposedly ran out of gas. So.
Did she tell you the friend's name or? Okay.
If she did, I can't remember names anyway. Half the people at work, I can't remember their names, so I give them, like this one girl's real mean to Eileen. I call her Big Bird. And the lady that works in the back of the kitchen, I call her Kangaroo Billy. Those are the two that she was really afraid of, those two.
Okay.
So I got there, and I said, I'll be there in a minute. She was, don't come inside. I don't want Megan to know that we're back, or you're with me. I said, okay. And I pulled up, she gets in the truck. We take off, run out to this, can't remember the guy's name now. Supposedly the one that tried to do something with her. And dropped her off there. Then I left. And then wasn't too long after that is when she called me. I think she was in my house knocking. You can't get in my apartment building unless you have a key to get in. But I think she was knocking on my window. I didn't look, I didn't care. I just wanted to lay down and take a nap. That's when she texted me, wanted to know if I could talk to Emmy about letting her move back in because this guy raped her. Now, if it's true, she got mad at me for putting that there, but I did.
That's Eileen?
Yeah.
My favorite neighbor?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, right here it says text me. This was Monday morning at 7:58, but I didn't, I called her. And then she texted me
Oh,
back.
seriously? It's quite loud in my ears now. That's annoying.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And then, how long do those messages go? I mean, when was your last text message with her that day on Monday?
1:55, a little bit to 3.
Okay. Did you work that day on Monday?
I'm on Monday, Tuesday.
Okay. So you wouldn't went back to work until this morning if you were going to go back to work?
Yep.
Okay.
And then, hang on a minute. I'll show you what kind of person we're messing with here. Like I was telling you,
What do you mean? Which person?
Eileen, I met her like 2 years ago. She's a real sweet person, but she had an alcohol problem. Well, I made my mistake, I thought I could change her. Can't be done. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Okay, let's see here. Now, let's see. Not this puppy. The other puppy is when I kicked her out, okay? Then,
So then she went to Mike's house, or?
no, I actually stayed in her one night, and then somehow I met her and this Mike dude got together, but
What time do you think you were getting your window knocked on that day? On Monday? Did you say you dropped her off at 8 o'clock? You said you watched her walk in?
no, I didn't drop her at 8. I don't remember what time it was.
Okay. But you said you dropped her off in front of Mike's house?
Yeah.
And you watched her walk into the...
All she did was she got out and then she walked in front of the truck, and she walked in front of the truck, I went and turned around and that's when I left.
Okay, so you didn't see her get in the house, anything like that? So if she
Okay.
had walked away from there...
They're playing this so they can impeach him on it. This is...
Away from your apartment
okay.
complex. I wonder how she would have got to you.
Well, it's a friend, was supposed to come and pick her up. And her daughter told me, this is weird, her daughter told me that she called her and told her to pick her up when she picked the kids up. Get up to school.
Damn, that's not bad.
And she turned right around and called back and said, don't worry about it. I got a ride with somebody at work.
Nicole was confused about the
Probably
fact that
Demon
you
Slayer,
didn't tell her what you
Demon
gave her
Slayer
right
over my
now.
hacker hero.
Here's the deal. She
Why is
said
there a HUD on the interrogation room wall?
that she found out she's even...
How else are they going to disguise a two-way mirror?
Coming back to you?
Yeah.
Oh, so you
Try to get back with me. She would never see her grandkids again. But here's the deal. Every time me and her get arguing, she calls my daughter or my son. And they,
okay.
you see what I'm saying?
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
So you didn't want to say
So
anything to
everything's-
Nicole based off the fact that...
Yeah, because she's not supposed to get around me. You see what I'm saying?
Okay. Okay. I understand that, I guess. You're trying to protect her from getting in trouble or being able to see your grandbabies, huh?
Well, just like I told Nicole. The only
Oh, it is on two walls. Huh.
She doesn't tell
Maybe
me
it's just some horrible
She thinks that it's going to split.
sort of artwork or something. I don't
That's
know.
it, man. I'm dating her, was dating her, and she's dating my son's dating her. So my fucking family tree ain't gonna work no more, bro. It's gonna be a stone.
Okay, all right. If you, in your
Yes, laugh with the
conversations
cops. That always goes down well.
Where else does she hang out? Where else would she
She
go?
knows.
Where else would she,
I can tell you that. There's one guy, I can't remember his name, but his wife is on crank real bad, and her daughter don't like her. Tim Taylor. You'll have to ask her daughter, Tim Taylor, his wife's daughter. Tim Taylor. Oh, I call her quick.
Kim Kaylee?
I think it's Tim.
Tim Kaylee.
Yeah, anyway, his wife is in crank real bad, and she went over there after, supposedly, after me and her got into it. She was gonna stay there, but I guess they got 2 real mean dogs, and then she left there.
How do you, would you not spell his last name, Kaylee?
I don't know. I don't know how to spell her last name. So she can be close to work where she can walk, because she can't drive for a year.
Right there on Woodbury Avenue, there right behind Sugars?
Yeah, and when I told her no, she kinda.
You just got pissed?
Yeah. She thinks I'm on my son and her daughter's side, but I'm not. I'm just trying to be in the middle of it.
So you guys have known each other for 2 years, argued.
Oh.
Sergeant Roberts.
That cut off awfully quickly.
With the defendant, did you feel like you learned some information?
Not a whole lot of information, other than the fact that he did pick her up, I believe, right around 8:30 in the morning from Sugars. And then, as he said in the video, he went directly to Mr. Brockman's residence and then dropped her off, and then he left and went directly back to his house.
So after you do an interview like this, do you do any follow-up?
Yes, we went and just tried to determine, we had to validate everything that he was saying there. We were able to find the video at Sugars that showed him pulling up in his Dodge Ram pickup truck and picking Eileen up at that 8:30 time. We then tried to use any other cameras that we might be able to find going out towards Mr. Brockman's house, which is basically as you come out of Sugars, you go past the old Kmart, get onto Highway 191 and go out about 2 miles or so. And then Mr. Brockman is staying in a little apartment right out there off of Highway 191.
Did you have, so he's leaving Sugars, or he says he leaves Sugars at around 8:30, 8:32?
Correct.
Right? And then he drives to Mike Brockman's residence?
Correct.
You stayed about 2.5 miles, something like that?
Right in that area, yes.
And is it off of Railroad Highway?
It is, yes.
So did you go try to verify if you could see his vehicle driving from Sugars to Mike Brockman's house right after 8:32 a.m.?
We did.
No, she's out like a light.
We went to a couple different businesses there that we thought might have, if they had video of the highway, we'd be able to verify that.
What were those businesses?
There were 2 auto shops. The one that we finally found that we were able to find video that pointed right out to the highway.
I know, right?
John's Auto Sales.
They're clearly not
Right
paying
there.
that much attention
And,
to their own
they were
feed.
able to provide us video from, at the first time that we stopped, we grabbed between 8:30 and right around 8:50, knowing that it was about a 2.5 or 3 mile trek. We knew that we'd be able to see his vehicle go by that location, and then hopefully try to get it coming back towards town once he had dropped her off.
And did you?
We did not see the vehicle, no.
Excuse me, just a minute. Mr. Forney, can you bring your mic up and use that, and then Sergeant Roberts, when you have you just bring that to the group?
Sorry.
That's fine. Great, thanks.
So after reviewing the video from John's Auto Sales, and then there was another video that you reviewed as well, correct?
Just Sugars and John's at that point in
Okay.
time, yes.
Okay, and at that time, you'd come to the conclusion that he didn't actually take that route?
He did not go by that business during those times that would have matched what he had told us in the interview room, that he left Sugars, drove straight to the house, went back to, then left that, came back into town and went back to his apartment.
Now, were you involved in gathering any more evidence in this case after Sugars?
Yes, we continue to try to gather up other pieces of
See, the
evidence or
irony of
anything
this
that would
entire
corroborate,
case is circumstantial. If he
Mr.
hadn't
Bremmer's story.
lied, if he had planned a little bit
Which
better,
is why I called
he
him back
probably
in
would have
on
got
the
away with it.
17th, to verify and try to pinpoint our times.
So no,
that we
he had
could
to act
better
like he was a
understand and
meddling dog.
Have knowledge of when he did actually go out that direction.
That's all I've got for this witness, Judge.
Hey, Cross?
You better cross that.
You are head of the detectives, but you're a sergeant, right?
I'm a sergeant, yes.
Okay, so when, we don't refer to you as a detective. At what point did this change from a missing persons to a criminal investigation?
Well, it for sure 100% changed when Eileen's body was found. But we knew that after several days that, you know, if not being able to find her, not being able to track her phone, not being able to do different things, that we were starting to look in different directions at that point in time to see what may or may not have occurred during that period of time from the 13th until as the investigation continued.
Would it be approximately the 15th?
As far as our investigation?
When it becomes a criminal investigation?
I wouldn't say the 15th, no. It was a missing persons case. That's when we first got our call. The family hadn't seen her since the 13th at whatever time that was. So on the 15th, we received the call that reported her as a missing person. So on the 15th, it was a missing person investigation. There was no crime or anything like that at that point in time that we would be able to point at to say we are investigating a crime. We are investigating a missing person on the 15th.
But weren't you already focused on Mr. Brammer by that time?
Just to gather information. Nicole had provided us with names of people who had possibly seen her that morning or in that time frame from the 13th until the 15th. She had provided us those names of Mike Brockman, of Mr. Bramer, of people that worked there at Sugars that have possibly seen them. So we were trying to gather as much information as we could from those individuals of possible people that would have seen her after the 13th, after she had made contact, the last contact she had made with Nicole. So we were just trying to gather up as much information as we could.
So it's your opinion that on the 15th, it's still a missing persons and you're looking to find her?
Correct.
And you're looking at everybody and anybody?
Correct. Anybody that would gather information or give us information, possibly have information on her location or whereabouts.
Did you have any other involvement in any other videos, looking at any other photos, anything else?
Working with the detectives in the office, tracking down video after the 13th, any video that we could find of possible locations for her.
Well, when I talked earlier to one of the detectives, he said that you make a report every time you do one of those little projects, right?
You create a supplement report, yes.
Okay. What projects did you get involved in?
I was involved in the Mr. Bramer's interview on the 17th. I was involved in talking to other individuals who had possibly seen her from the time of the 13th to the 15th. I was involved.
Who are you referring to there?
I believe Michael Brockman, Megan at Sugars, who was the general manager. Trying to think if I'd actually talked to anybody else. I may have talked to one other individual. I'm sorry, I can't remember their name right now. But yeah, just talking to them as far as when they last saw her.
The court's always out of date,
She's saying anything to
unfortunately.
them as
If
far
it's
as
not
that
the
she was gonna
audio,
go
it's the
somewhere,
video.
what
If it's
she was
not the
gonna do.
video, then they've screwed something else up.
Were you involved in getting any of the videos from the apartments or any other businesses?
No, I did not.
Okay. How many times did you interview Mr. Bramer?
3 times.
On what dates did you interview him?
On the 15th, the video you just saw, on the 17th, at the police station as well, and on the 18th, at his granddaughter's apartment.
And you're saying it's still by the 18th, you are treating this as a missing persons case?
Correct. I have no other information that would lead me to believe that it was anything else. I'm just trying to track down and follow video, fill in that video time, fill in that time space during that missing period, during the 13th, just trying to verify all the information that Mr. Bramer had given us to say, okay, yes, everything he has told us matches. But at that point in time, up until the 17th, up until the 18th, we were unable to do that.
As a matter of fact, you were verifying that it wasn't true, wasn't you?
No, we were just trying to verify his information. Not that it wasn't true. I mean,
Well,
if
but-
he's telling us the truth, then we would be able to see it and find it on the video.
But
So
you
that's
went-
what we were trying to do.
You went to John's Auto and said he didn't go by there, right?
Correct. We knew that at that time, he did not go by there.
So that was from the 15th interview. So when you interviewed him on the 17th, you already had information that you said he had given you was incorrect.
He gave us other information on the 17th that said he went to a different location. That instead of going straight out to Mr. Brockman's, that they actually went into town, went to 25th Street and Avenue B, which is where her mother lived, at the Dudley Court Apartments at that location. He then told us that he let Eileen out and she went inside for a period of time to grab items from her mother. Some of those items being a safe that she wanted to get out of her mother's house, that she then brought back out to the car. So he said then after that, then they drove directly back out to Mr. Brockman's. And we were able to track him down Canesville, but again, when he gave us those times, we went to John's Auto to see if
He
his
does
truck
look
would
like
have
he
been
needs
by
a
at
lot
that
more
time,
sleep, doesn't he?
and we still did not find it.
Nothing further.
Any redirect?
Yeah, a couple follow-up questions, Judge. So you learned about a Mike Brockman,
Correct.
and did you follow up on Mike Brockman and his story?
Yes, we did.
And you learned of is it Tim Kelly? Or
Yeah, in that interview, I believe one of the other detectives would have talked to him, but if he was ever interviewed. But yes, I did not interview Tim Teely. Tim Kelly or Tim Teely.
so is law enforcement following up on that?
Correct.
Okay. And you're following up on the defendant's story that he took Eileen from Sugars to Mike Brockman's house that night?
Correct.
And you're just trying to figure out whether, in fact, that is truth or whether it's not, right?
That is correct.
And sometimes people will try to be truthful and then they just forget. Is that correct?
Yeah, they may have forgotten time frames or whatever it may be, but I mean, that piece of information had to be verified so that we could move on to other locations or whatever somebody else would have grabbed her or picked her up, and we could have then verified those stories, yes.
And then you interview, and there's other times when you interview and individuals you believe that they're lying, right?
Yes, sometimes, yes.
Okay. So this is a process, right?
That is correct.
Okay. And you also have law enforcement out there canvassing, pulling videos from all over the place, correct?
Correct.
So it wasn't just the defendant that you were interviewing on the 15th and 17th, correct?
That is correct.
And your main goal is to find Eileen?
That is correct.
No further questions, Judge.
Thank you. Let me step down. Dorset? Next witness?
That's always what you want to hear. Shit.
Who does the state call?
Judge, the state would call Detective Ronald Brandon.
Brannigan?
It's 45 minutes.
Do you swear or affirm the testimony about to give the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Please be seated. Counsel?
Thank you, Judge. State your full and complete name.
My name is Ron Brannigan.
And
Actually,
you're not a detective anymore, are you?
I am not.
Are you recently retired?
Yes.
Okay.
no, it looks like we get to the
What's
5 hour
your
mark and we're
occupation
done. So that's
I am the risk manager for the city of
35
Council
minutes.
Okay. But before that, what was your job?
I was a detective for the Council Bluffs Police Department.
And how many years did you do that?
16 years.
And in what capacity were you in through those 16 years?
Detective. 28 years as in law enforcement for the police department, 16 years as a detective.
And what kind of cases have you investigated through the years as an investigator?
Pretty much everything from simple theft all the way through death investigations.
I'm guessing you had some training along with your experience
Yes, I have.
through the years. What would some of your training be?
We have training in crime scene management, forensics, interviewing and interrogations, different aspects of that. Just ongoing training.
So you came into this case at a certain juncture, is that correct?
That's correct.
And you didn't start off as the lead investigator?
I was not.
Okay. So when did you kind of come into this case?
February 17th, I was asked by my Sergeant Roberts. He was investigating a missing persons case, and he asked me to assist him with an interview that he had on that day, on the 17th.
And did you assist him?
I did. I didn't have a lot of time to get up to speed on the case. He grabbed me as I was coming back from my lunch, and I think he had the interview set for like between 1 and 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So he gave me a verbal rundown to bring me up to speed verbally on some of the things that they've already done and what the basis of the case was.
And were you already aware that the defendant was interviewed on the 15th?
Yes, he did tell me that he had been interviewed on the 15th, and we needed to go over a few things in this next interview.
So what did you know before you stepped into that interview on the 17th?
Well, I knew that the information that he provided Sergeant Roberts on the 15th was not true and accurate. He mentioned that he had picked up the victim at her place of business.
The victim.
And took her to Mike
Okay.
Brockman's residence, which was a customer a regular customer at Sugar's, and an acquaintance of hers that she was temporarily staying.
And you were present in the interview of the defendant on February 17th with Sergeant Roberts?
Correct.
I approach Judge.
You may.
I'm handing you what's marked for identification. It's Exhibit 5B.
Okay,
Do you recognize this?
I do.
What is it?
This is the interview with Sam Brammer.
Did you review it?
I did.
Did you initial it?
I did.
And does this accurately represent the interview that took place on February 17th, 2020?
Yes, it does.
Judge, I'd like to offer Exhibit 5B.
Any objection to 5B? 5B is received.
Judge, permission to publish.
You are granted permission to publish.
How you doing? Pretty good. Sam, this is Detective Brannigan. Okay. You guys staying with me today, all right? Okay.
Lovely audio. Sugars has an 80 ounce steak.
All right, Sam. Like I said on the phone, I said one of the things that we forgot to do, or I forgot to do, was grab that information off of your phone, the text messages, different things like that you had with Eileen on that day. So, with your permission, I would like to
Dude.
take the phone here real quick. I got a guy up here.
Oh, they're knocking on my window. She can't get in my apartment unless you have the key. You know what I mean?
Don't do it.
And, I know she
Make him get a subpoena.
So anyway, I ignored her.
Notice how he said, with your permission?
I could talk to him and see if she would come back home, that he had raped her. And that's what the law says. You could have told me this earlier, you know what I mean? You could have told me this shit earlier. So I don't know if she was afraid that I would do something to him or what, I don't know. So then her boss called me and wanted to know if I knew where she was at. She was supposed to be to work.
And a breakfast meal called the Foxy Roxy.
Megan said you're supposed to be at work.
Interesting.
And she didn't answer me back after that at all. And
Steve should have definitely picked up the Grimace Crocs.
And I hit her name, and it said she was on an hour ago.
She was on what?
She was online an hour ago, on Facebook an hour ago.
It showed her on Facebook?
Yeah, it said she was on there an hour ago.
Oh yeah, this dude should have shut the hell up. This is long beyond the point when he should have shut his mouth and asked for a lawyer.
Okay, right there, and I'm talking to him.
You got Facebook, and you got on, and saw her that she was on Facebook.
Yeah, it says, you get her name, it tells you how long it was on, how long it's been since she was last on. It said like an hour.
Okay, all right. Did you go to her page or anything, look and see if she got any posts or anything like that?
Yeah, I went through the post, and all of a sudden, it comes up where she's missing.
Okay.
So I don't know how she put that on there. Her missing like that.
Okay, unless somebody else got onto her, and it doesn't know whether it's her or not, somebody just logged into her profile, right?
Yeah, they have to know her account number.
Yeah, exactly, they have to know, they have to know if
Anyways,
I think maybe Nicole might have had some of that information.
yeah, but she's ruining this case for you guys, because she's got everybody running every which way but loose.
Yeah,
And just like the other day, she told me that her mom said two women brought her to her house to get her steak. And that's not true.
Was that when you took her there?
If that's when I took her, and she ran out and came back.
Let's get this hammered down, all right? When you took her there and everything, so that you picked her up from Sugar's, is that right?
Right.
And then you basically went to a mom's house. Is that
Right, after we was talking about me co-signing for getting an apartment right behind.
Okay.
She lost her license. All she had to do was walk to work. Which is pretty cool, but she couldn't do it in her name.
Okay. So tell me what route you went to mom's house. Just which way did you?
She wanted to talk to me, and she said, "Oh, wait a minute, I want to go to my mom's house."
Where's mom's house at?
Oh, wow. 25th and B, I think.
25th of B? Okay.
25th B or 20 something, A or something.
Okay.
It's one of the two.
25th of B, so you're driving from Sugar's to basically 25th of B.
Right.
But you want to talk while you're doing it, so just tell me which way you
We were talking about how I could help her get into that place.
Sure.
And she didn't want to know her daughter know anything, because her daughter, we've been together for like 2 years. And when she gets drunk, I can't take it, so I make her leave. Well, I think her daughter finally got tired of it, and she finally told her, if I kept you talking and trying to get back with him, you're not going to see your grandkids anymore. You know?
Sure.
Now, I don't know if that's true or not, I don't know, but that's what Eileen told me about it.
Okay.
So anyway, when we left there, we was going to work, and I picked her up from her mom's house, taking her back to her new place, and then she started asking me questions about the employees there. Want to know if I had an affair with my boss, which I can't remember her name, and her sister, Don and John, I had Don, there's John. You know, her sister's name is something, they were close.
Did I have an affair with my boss, her sister?
Keep track of the names of it.
I mean, I suppose if they're already keeping it in the family.
The way they treat me every time I come to work. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. I have nothing to do with those two. And one thing made me mad, when I go pick her up from work, she'd get up at 8. We wouldn't get there till 9, 9:30. I'd do her silver, and she'd be outside drinking and smoking, which I don't understand why she couldn't hurry up and do it. So we go home and do this. You know what I mean? Well, my granddaughter wouldn't let us smoke in our house anyway. So I don't know. But I mean, she was just,
So let's get back to the day that you picked her up at church, right? And you went to 25th and B to that Dudley Court, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. When you drove there to Dudley Court, how long were you there?
oh, man, I don't know.
Estimate. I mean, were you there for 5 minutes? Or were you there for 30 minutes?
I don't know. I guess maybe 5 or 10 minutes.
5 or 10 minutes. She just went in for a little while. Did you stay in the truck?
Not only do you not guess, you shut the hell up.
Oh, right up front, she ran inside, did what she had to do, and she came out. When she came out, that's when,
What she said she had to do inside the apartment there? Why did she want to go to her mom's house that day?
she just said she wanted to talk to her mom. That's what she told me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Did she come out with anything? Did she
Yeah,
have
she had a purse, and she had a black safe with her.
She had a safe with
She
her
had
at
a
that
safe.
time? Okay. All right. So did she just hold the safe? She just hold on to it? What'd she do with it then?
No, she got it in the passenger side, she set the safe on the thing, and she put her purse beside her, and that's when I took her home.
Okay. So you took her, where's home at?
I don't know the address. It's down by Sugar's, right across the street.
Right across the street from Sugar's?
I want to say like maybe 2-3 miles.
I mean, okay, so it's not the apartments there by Sugar. She lives down.
That's the part she was not getting into. For meanwhile, she was living with some guy, a customer, at Sugar's. And he's the one where she was living with.
Okay, and that's the one that's down the highway?
Yeah.
Okay, so.
I don't know the address now.
That's fine. That's fine. Do you know what road it's off of though?
No.
Okay, you just.
The first time I took her is when she told me about it.
Okay.
So I called my son and said, please let her come back. This guy's messing with her. And he said, okay. So then I told her, get a truck. We got a truck. I took her over there, and she was kind of drunk. We couldn't find it first. And then she finally remembered some kind of a pole or some shit. Well, turn here. So I turned her, I pulled up. She gets out, walks behind the house, goes around, gets her clothes, comes back, gets in, and that's when we left. I took her straight to my son's house.
Okay. All right. But after you left Dudley Court, did you Did you go down to Kingsville to go down there again? You just drive right down Kingsville, or did you go somewhere else?
Right down Broadway.
Right down Broadway, and then, so what time do you think that was?
Oh, come on now.
No, I'm serious, I'm just wondering, I mean, because we need to verify all this.
I don't want to say it's between,
We just need to verify all this.
8:30, 9:30, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Okay, so if you pick
I
her
was sitting all the way back.
let's say you picked her up from Sugars about 8:30, and then you went to 25th and B, and then you came back, that's probably, possibly about a half an hour round trip maybe? Is that in the ballpark, so maybe around?
I'm not sure how long.
Okay, but we need to be able to verify.
Yeah.
Because.
Like I said, I'm not too sure of the time.
Okay. That's what I'm asking you about. I'm not asking you to tell me exactly what time you got her back.
I'm just asking, I mean, I may be off a little, I don't know.
And that's fine, we can be off.
Yeah.
We just need a ballpark, but I need to have a ballpark.
Yeah.
So, are you thinking it's about a half hour after you picked her up initially? Or could it be an hour, 45 minutes? It's on the other side.
If you go up on 34th, you'll see my apartment, so it's in between two buildings.
Okay, yeah, okay, all right, okay. All right. So she would have went around the other side?
Yeah.
Knocked on the window, okay. All right. About 1 p.m., 1:30, somewhere around there?
Yeah, somewhere there.
Okay. And then what?
That's when she texted me and wanted to know if I could talk to him, he let her stay there.
Yeah,
I said,
and look,
"Oh,
if
you're
he had
drunk."
kept his mouth shut and not
Sent me a text back.
not made it so damn easy for them, I dare say there's a good chance he might have actually gotten away with this. I still think that he's going to get, I still think that he's going to be found guilty on a purely circumstantial case, but he's done it to himself. Yeah, he's singing like a canary in a coal mine, and he's changing his story as he goes. It's not... All he had to do was shut the hell up. But no, he clearly thinks that he's smarter than everybody else, and, oh no, I don't need a lawyer.
Yesterday I went to work, after that came back, I had feelings, because I helped her clean for 6 or 7 months in the morning. And I wanted
What do you think, girl?
somebody to get that girl
Yeah.
a phone number that works there.
I'm using my pet psychic powers to say she thinks he's going down.
And she more or less was taking that on me, which I had nothing to do with that. I ain't got no control over who Nicole's friends are, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
Yeah. Nicole's just worried, her mom's not around, and it's not a good thing, and daughters are gonna react to things in different ways. I mean, yeah, that would, what she's doing right now is sure as heck isn't helping, but she's reacting to different things in different ways, just based off of her feelings, so, I'm glad that, you came back in today and talked, because, the other day when we had you in here, you talked it, and,
We're almost
tell me
there.
if I'm wrong here, but when you said that you.
Where's Doggo Cam? Doggo Cam is still $45 away.
Megan was able to send us video.
The dog herself is laying behind me.
When you picked her up.
Which I did pick her up.
Yeah, no, you did, yeah, it's right there, yeah. Basically, you told me that you went straight to, Mike's house.
No, the doggo's not on a diet. I am.
I told her she got a car.
And I'm almost into the 110s
Yeah,
again.
I asked you, I said, what did you
Doing
talk
well.
about on your way to Mike's house? And you said about the apartment, just like you said.
Well, yeah, just going.
Yeah, I thought, my assumption was you went straight there, dropped her off, and at 2 or 3 miles, you talked about, what was going on,
No, I'm taking her to her, yeah, I didn't take her straight to her.
okay. So, yeah, so now I have to, because I just have to verify everything, and video sure is
Well, I wanna know.
in hand.
Why, how come you guys can't find out who took her clothes and put them behind the bar?
Oh, I know who did that.
Oh, you know?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, and Nicole went and picked them up, so yeah, I know how that happened.
Okay.
Did she leave anything in your truck or anything like that when she left, when you dropped her off, or did she take everything with her?
I think she was a saver in purse, and she got them both.
All right, okay.
And when she took that to Mike's house when you let her off.
Right.
So she
You
grabbed
really
some
hated the game
first
stream,
and
didn't you?
took it to
That's
Mike's
all she had, was a purse and a saver. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's something I can confirm.
And I don't know who that woman is that was supposed to pick her up and run out of gas. I don't know who that was.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Yeah. This is kind of getting more dire by the day, so we just need to make sure that we got the information correct and got everything lined up, okay? So that's all we're doing. We're just making sure.
Lying through your teeth.
Who? He's a big boy.
I don't know, yeah.
And he goes, you gotta tell me the address. And I think he's not lying to him. I said, look, I don't know.
Okay.
And he looked at me like I was lying to him. I said, I'll tell you what, you just go pick up Jay, and Jay will take you right over, because he's the one who took her back the second time.
Okay. All right. Well, now we can move on from here. I don't know how much longer it's gonna take for him on that phone, but I will find out and let you know here real quick, okay?
Whatever you do, please, I can't take the comments. Whatever you do, please don't erase that message of her.
We're not erasing it yet.
The one on
The
the.
voicemail?
Yeah, that's,
No, I won't erase the voicemail.
okay, thank you.
Ted?
You don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's? I read a bunch of the lore just because I didn't want to play the video game. I haven't watched the movie. I don't really intend to.
Timeline here that you gave us, and we got a small little snap of it, right, that we need to talk to you about, okay? So you said after you dropped her off, out there off of Highway 191 at that residence, you headed back to your apartment. We checked some of our cameras, okay?
Well, yeah, that's why I said that it was literally a grinding stream. I knew it was going to be boring. I was there to talk to people.
Past 36th and Broadway heading west. So you didn't go home, you went over to Omaha, it looks like. Do you remember what you did, or you saw? Where'd you go?
I told you I went to home. I don't remember going home.
Not scary, mostly gory. Okay.
Camera doesn't lie. It's your truck and it's your license plate number. Okay? At 36th and Broadway at 9:28 a.m. Going west toward 480. And then 1 hour later, you're coming back from Omaha and you're going eastbound coming back into Council Bluffs. 1 hour later.
Sorry, implied gore. Okay.
Where'd you go?
I went to home.
Okay.
I know when I drunk.
All right. What I'd like to do is, we'd like to look a little bit further in your phone and get the location information off of it so that we can see, hopefully, I don't know if we'll even be able to get that, but we'd like to try to get location of where you went during that time, okay? Is that all right? Is that okay with you? It's gonna take a little bit longer, but given this information, we just gotta know.
I don't remember it.
Exactly. And if you could tell me, if you could remember it, yeah, we wouldn't have to do this, but I think this will help us. Would that be all right if we did that?
Yeah.
Okay, it may take about a half hour for this to get done, is that all right? And he's done with it, the text message is open, but the location is gonna be a little bit longer.
I'll take this week, sir.
All right, I appreciate your cooperation.
You tell my granddaughter, hang on.
I will do.
You know, and if you remember anything, believe me, I know, you just forget things, you know, and you're not thinking about it, so it's just, you get confronted with it, and then, I don't know what the heck I did. Sometimes I don't remember what I had for dinner last night.
I do not remember going home.
Okay. Well, I believe you don't recall, we need to nail this down, because,
In Omaha.
well, you're at 36th and Broadway, going west, and the only.
It's got Al Gore in it, or rather implied Al Gore.
You're going west, where else are you gonna go? Yeah, from 36th and Broadway, right?
Some sort of movie trying to find out what's the first series of books.
Yeah, and
Oh, okay.
that's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping that we can get some location that you didn't.
I didn't actually realise that they did. I haven't paid much attention to the books at all. I know that they did a series of them, but couldn't help you with that, sorry.
Okay. She didn't ask you to go anywhere for her, did she? Okay. All right. So, but you remember going home?
Yeah, I remember going home.
Okay, you stayed there, but you don't remember going to, do you remember what route you took to go home?
I won't say Broadway.
Just went down Broadway and then you would turn on 35th Street.
Right.
But, except you passed 35th Street here according to our cameras, because this is 36th going west. So, think about it. Okay, no, that's fine. What about, okay, how about when you picked her up and you went to.
Now, did you ever learn that Eileen actually walked into Sugar's?
Yes,
And was that the video of it?
yes, it was.
Anything about her walk or anything that so unusual?
Just that it seemed perfectly normal.
Judge, I'd also like to publish exhibits 3B. Publish exhibit 3B at this time, Judge. It's already been offered into evidence.
Permission granted.
I'd like to offer exhibit 3C. or excuse me, published Exhibit 3C that's already offered into evidence.
You may.
Now, you've identified his truck. Is this the defendant's truck?
Yes, it is.
And what is this image indicating?
That is his truck crossing in front of Sugar's. Eileen is in the passenger seat.
And approximately what time is it?
That is going to be approximately 8:32 in the morning, timestamp 9:32.
Did you ever talk with Mike Brockman?
Yes.
And what was your conversation with Mike Brockman?
The conversation with Mike Brockman was about how he knew Eileen, the time that she spent with him, and specifically what they did the morning of the 13th.
And did you ever obtain or see any video of Mike Brockman bringing property back to Sugars?
Yes.
Judge, I'd like to publish Exhibit 3D.
You may.
So going back to the timeline, we just watched some videos of Sugars, of the defendant leaving with Eileen at 8:32. Were you able to track the defendant's movements after that?
Yes, I was.
And how did you go about doing that?
Well, using the timeline that he gave us, we also utilize a system called Flock. And Flock is a license plate reader system. It also identifies vehicles without license plates. We can put in certain aspects about a vehicle, type, color, model, and have it search for those vehicles. And it can give us a list of several, could be several hundred, could be several thousand vehicles, but we can try to limit the time frame that where the camera picks up those vehicles. And that, again, is where the time frame comes in handy. But we were able to locate his vehicle on Flock, which gave us a pretty good timeline to check our public works cameras at specific times, intersection cameras throughout the city.
Were you able to pull anything from any police stop or step up and point at that?
Again. Sorry. So here's the chrome gas cap. You can see the stickers here on the back window. Euro tail light is here. The rear wheel of the truck is here.
Thank you. Where do they go after Sherwood Apartments?
After Sherwood Apartments, they exit Sherwood Drive onto Canesville. They turn west, and they travel west on Canesville.
Okay. And do we have any video or video exhibits, or excuse me, evidence from the location on Canesville and Frank going west?
Yes, we do.
And about what time were they at that location?
I believe
F, 4G, 4H are all received.
Judges, they would like to publish 4G, 4F, 4H.
You may.
F. Now on Exhibit 4H, this is, you said this was 36th and West Broadway?
That's correct.
And that is heading which direction?
That is westbound, which is indicated on the bottom line there where it shows West Broadway at 36th WB, and that indicates westbound.
And the time?
Time is 9:28.
Now, in terms of...
I feel like that's close enough to get the entire
heading
license plate.
westbound, is this the last point
It's
we
great when they
actually
include identifying stickers on it, though.
It is.
And
What's he name his truck?
so when is the next time you actually are picking up and tracking the
Pickup
vehicle?
truck.
The next time we catch that vehicle. He's eastbound.
First 3 books are 28.90.
About what time?
Good, get it.
At about 10:24, I believe.
Sorry, I know I'm not providing a lot of commentary. I'm trying to get some work done.
Right around that specific
So
time.
earlier you stated there was about an hour gap, roughly.
About an hour, yes.
Okay. And so now the truck is coming, now that you've tracked the truck coming back eastbound?
That's correct.
And what was the first location where you pick up the truck coming eastbound?
At 40th and West Broadway.
Okay. Approach, Judge.
You may. Please be seated, folks. And Detective Brannigan, you have a seat. You're excused until we come back. We're in recess for 15 minutes.
That's a quick 15 minutes. They cut that. That's good.
Well, several times. We tracked the truck there several times. So I guess
The hell is going on
ask
here?
for some clarification.
So,
The panty dropper.
at this
I
point
doubt
in
that
time,
very much.
Is it true that the vehicle's moving, or is traveling eastbound?
Yes.
And so was there a point where you were able to see the defendant's truck at Canesville and Frank heading eastbound?
Yes, that time was about 10:56, I believe.
Judge, my approach.
You may.
I'm handing you an exhibit that's marked for identification. 4S. What is that?
This is the video. The tan coat is pulled up where the head would be. You can't see the face or head.
And after the defendant's vehicle goes through this intersection, where do you find, or where do you see the truck next?
It continues east, turns north onto Railroad Highway from Gainesville, and we have that vehicle on camera traveling northbound on Railroad Highway at 11:01 a.m.
And then, it's traveling north?
Traveling north on Railroad Highway, correct.
Okay. And then where do you have it going after that?
It's coming back south, cross past that same camera at New Horizons Auto. And then we next have that, the vehicle pulling into Casey's General Store at Sherwood Drive in Gainesville at 11:06.
So they ain't picking up accounts? So these accounts can't.
Can I approach it?
You may.
And you exhibit 4U that's marked for identification. You know what that is?
This is the New Horizons video.
And is that the business that's on Railroad Highway?
That's correct.
And what are your initials on there?
My initials are on here, yeah.
And what is the date?
The 13th of February, 11:01 a.m.
Okay. This is 4Y, exhibit 4Y, marked for identification. What is that?
This is Casey's surveillance video.
He loses his temper from time to time.
Is that your
Possibly.
signature there?
It is.
Have you viewed it?
I did.
And from what day is that?
The 13th.
Brockman's house and coming back to Casey's?
Yes. Well, not Casey's. I did a.
Interesting.
a
Okay, it
specific
sounds
point.
like
Actually,
Court
using
TV were
John's
doing a
Auto
little bit of
because of the ease of
like
getting off the road, turning around, and
on the fly
and
clipping,
heading
because this
back,
is jumping around a bit.
at
Might
various
explain why
locations.
Law and Crime had so many issues as
From
well.
that point out to
There was
various
something wrong with
locations
the feed.
and back to a specific point.
So 11:01 at New Horizons,
Mhm.
11:06 at Casey's.
Correct.
And the 11:01 is going northbound, correct?
That is correct.
So from 11:01 at New Horizons to my...
What the? Okay, tomorrow we're definitely using Law and Crime. On the upside, it looks like we've got a couple of minutes left. Did he really call it the babe magnet? What babes? The ones with 20 teeth or less? Oh, rough but hilarious.
It shows in the lobby area, correct.
And on 13A, was that?
This is the parking lot of the American National Bank.
13B?
This is the teller window
And is it from what date?
from the 15th of February. These are all 15th of February.
And the handed you was marked as Exhibit 13C.
Okay.
What is that?
This is a record of checks and deposits. The fifth record down is the deposit slip dated 2/15/23.
More about Eileen and the drop-off location.
My hands are
Yes,
nowhere
we
near
will.
the keyboard. I'm not doing
What
this.
What was that conversation?
Again, trying to
No further questions for Wednesday.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our evening recess at this point,
Thank fuck for that.
and I'd request that you all come back, like you did this morning at 9 o'clock, and barring any other matters that I need to deal with, we'll try to be back on the record at 9:15 or as shortly thereafter as possible. Please remember that admonition I've given to you. Don't talk about this case with anyone, even those folks back home. They'll be pumping you for questions.
The judge is
Tell them Judge
surprisingly
Davidson
charming.
said I couldn't talk about it.
Just remember that admission I gave you.
Please keep an open mind that you hear all the evidence and the matters submitted to you. And I thank you for not using those cell phones. With that, we will be in recess until tomorrow morning at around 9:15. We're in recess.
Okay. I believe that's going to cut, so I'm going to stop that there. So there you have it, peeps. Day 1 and 2 of the Dead in a Ditch trial. I'm not quite sure what the hell was going on with the video there towards the end. I mean, I knew that there were some issues. It made sense given what happened with Law and Crime's feed as well. Jumping between it being 7 hours and 5 hours. Either way, it doesn't really matter. Yeah, look, I think this is an interesting trial. Biofrons are saying they're committed now. Okay, that's fine. I mean, I had planned on doing a second stream later on today, like in the evening, my time, to catch up. But as it turns out, it looks like we're up to date. So, I'll probably start tomorrow. Will be a little bit later because it's just not. I don't do well on the because the trials. The court day starts at like 2 a.m. my time, so we'll be a couple of hours behind. But we'll start from the start for day 3. Does Stripe take a percentage of the money when people donate? If so, how much? It's significantly less than YouTube does, I think. If you do a tip through Stripe, hang on. Where are we? I think it's... I'm actually not 100% sure. Hang on. How the checkout works. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Where are we? Payment scenarios. I mean, I think last month out of the Stripe thing, I got like $170, which I think was pretty good because that was. Where are we? Actually, I think it charges me a fee at some point, which I can either choose to pass on, which I don't think I do, or I can, or I just pay it. Collecting tips. Either way, it's nowhere near the like 30% that YouTube does. So if you do want to leave a tip through Stripe, by all means, I will get it sometime next month because I have my Stripe payouts to be once a month. So, but yeah. All right, guys, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you very much to everybody that stuck around for the 3.5 hours of getting through this trial. Yeah, nice to be back on the saddle and actually looking at a trial for once. Hopefully the stream will go slightly smoother tomorrow, and I'll be able to actually pay a little bit more attention to the trial. But as always, please remember, you're not a piece of shit. You do have value and you do contribute to society. And make sure you've double-checked whether or not you've hit that like button. I'm very quickly going to see if anyone's live that I can shunt everybody across to. Where are we? Just realized I haven't checked Rumble chat in a little while either, so thankfully no one's left any rants. Upon the Horizon was the last person to chat a long time ago. Okay, that's fine, good. I'm not as terrible of a content creator as I could be. Didn't a ditch trial, customization, redirect. Who's live? Law Talk with Mike. Okay, we'll head over to Law Talk with Mike. Okay. So that's that done. Alright. As always, stay healthy, wealthy, wise, people. And I shall catch you all on the flip side. Cheers.
This shit, I'm out. Fuck this shit, I'm out. No thanks. Don't mind me. I'ma just grab my stuff and leave. Excuse me, please. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Nope. Fuck this shit, I'm out. Alright then. I don't know what the fuck just happened, but I don't really care. I'ma get the fuck up out of here. Fuck this shit, I'm out.